Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
It's going well. Uh, you know, it's been a surprisingly busy day, but that's all right. It's been very rainy here, so that's been nice. And
Phobos, if you check
get,
your messages, I
yeah,
sent you a DM.
yep.
I don't
And
think you looked at it.
been hanging out with you and the rest of the crew over on TV shows revisited earlier this evening, watching The Incredible Hulk, which was also great fun. So yeah.
It was fun. I think the TV show revisited is a rather pleasant show. It's a fun
Hmm.
hangout. It's a little less like trendy, like in terms of that, like all the trending topics, but it's a fun show, and that's cool. So happy about that. And yeah, we're going to be discussing a bunch of stuff today. There's this thing that came out, Spider-Noir.
Yeah.
It is basically, this kind of noir Spider-Man with Nicolas Cage. Now, before we dive in here, and I know you know a lot more about this than I do, I didn't have any like comics of Spider Noir. Is that a thing that like you were
Yes.
into?
There was a comic series. No, I have never read the comic series itself. No. Most people saw Spider Noir first were introduced to him through the animated film Into the Spider Verse, where you got to see him as part of that the different universes of Spider Man that are in there. That was part of it, or was it? It wasn't in. It was the second one, right? Is where they
Yeah,
had the multiple this beyond the Spider Verse. Was that the name of the second
I
one? I
thought
can't
both of
remember.
them. I thought both the first
Was
one
he in
and the
both of
second
them?
one had like
Okay.
people from different universes.
Yeah.
I know Nicolas Cage was in one of those movies. So yeah, I mean, in a way, this is sort of a spin-off of that, and that's probably why Lord and Miller are the executive producers of this show on Amazon. In addition to that, I saw that name Aditya Sud. That's the guy that blocked me on Twitter. He
Mm-hmm.
was one of the executive producers of this show. Ever since he blocked me on Twitter, he seems to get a lot of good jobs. Make of that what you will. But in any case, yeah, it's definitely their crew. And I think that the reason that they're the ones that get it is once they did the Spider Verse, they probably have some kind of contract that is like if there's a spin off of something that they've done, even if it's live action, they get to be involved in it. So I think that they
Yes.
couldn't make it without Lord and Miller in this specific case. And that's why it's like Sony. I saw the Amy Pascal name. It's Sony for Amazon with Lord and Miller. All of this makes sense. I didn't hate the Spider-Verse, like across the Spider-Verse movies. At the same time, I didn't love them either. They were just kind of okay. There's people that like slobber all over those movies. I think I'm just like, I, I over the years I've become a more cynical man. And if back in the day when they're like, "Oh, this is Miles Morales, it's from a different like universe or whatever," I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Now I'm like, not as enthusiastic. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
Like, uh, I am sorry that I'm quoting Beverly Hills Cop, but like I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe anymore. You get what I mean? Like you could pull that off like 10 years ago, but you can't pull it off anymore. Now, once there's some kind of strange swapping and strange things, I already know that an agenda is being rolled out like,
Definitely.
and
Yep.
that I don't like.
Yep. Oh yeah, Vista is joining us here. Oh, you'll need to put it in auto for him to
Oh,
be on
okay.
screen there. Yeah.
Auto. Yes, of
Yeah. There we
course.
go.
And presentation mode also does that.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello,
Hey, there is
Ista.
Tim.
Yeah, I can give you a little background. So, Spider Noir started in 2008, and they've had several runs, 4 or 5, I think, but none of them
Yeah.
lasted very long. It was limited 4 and 8 issue runs. It never lasted longer than a year. I think the biggest issue was like the 5 issue arc of this year, but it did show up in the first Into the Spider Verse, And actually, that's when it got popular because Nicolas Cage was fantastic in that.
Yeah, that was when most people got an exposure to it, was when they saw it there. I knew of the comics. I had heard of the comics, but I'd never read any of them. It sounded like a clever idea, but at the same time, I was kind of already out of comic books. You know what I mean? Like I had already kind of walked away from comic books for the most part at that point. And so it wasn't something that really drew me in. So it's a Depression era Spider-Man, and this this one, although there is kind of there's kind of some references to it at the beginning of the show, saying, "Oh, someone told me something about my universe or something like that."
Didn't you know there's a depression going on? They said,
yeah. Yeah, but there's something at the very, very beginning where there's something that's sort of hints that he's talked to people from other universes.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, this is not actually a continuation of the Into the Spider-Verse character. It's supposedly it's something separate.
It's completely different. And the other problem is by 2008, there weren't any comic book writers left that could really write noir. Or some that, or anybody even from that era. So most of the runs were relatively, none of them did that great, obviously, because they all ended up. But, they do a lot of restarts because collectors will always buy issue 1. And basically that's how comic books are surviving now, by doing 5 alternate covers and restarting every year to get another, issue 1.
Oh, yeah. Recently, what is it? Absolute Batman, which has been awful. Somebody sent me an issue that I saw that I read online. I was like, this is so bad. They've been doing something like 100 alternate covers, because they'll do not just alternate covers, like a 2 or 3, but they'll do ones that are specific to one comic book chain. Like one comic book store chain or something, right? So they'll do like a whole bunch of these different comic book covers for different people. So they have these premiums that are out there that they can say, look, you can only get this cover here, kind of a thing. It's absurd now.
Yeah, it's the only way they're staying in business. Really, collectors are keeping them. The people with OCD that have to, it's estimated that. The last time they did a survey, it's like 70% of the people buying comics don't even read them. They go straight into a bag on a board and into storage.
Yeah, with hopes that they've just put something into a bag that's going to be worth 500 times what they paid for it at some point. It's just like toys. Everyone recently has been talking about it's not going to matter if the Mandalorian and Grogu makes any money in the box office, because they're going to make all their money back in toys.
How I know that? This has been a big tweet of mine. Do you know how I know that the merchandise sales are crappy?
I know how I know they're crappy.
Right. Ollie's and the landfill. No, whenever Hollywood mainstream media outlets talk about merchandise, they always start at 2019 when it premiered. They never talk about, current year merchandise sales or this run or the movie merchandise sales, because there are none. They always have to go back. And then they include the OT sales, which are still like 90% of what's selling.
Yeah, and I can tell you how I know they're crappy, because I've been to a store and seen that all the stuff's still on the damn shelf, so nobody's buying it. But yeah, that's the same thing with toy sales. Now it's entirely adults that are buying it. They're buying it as speculation to use for stuff, and it's not working out. But this Spider-Noir in the comics is Spider-Man Noir, where it was the comics. They changed the name just a little bit for the show. But it's definitely an interesting idea to take the Spider-Man, story and apply it to a different time period. That has been done with lots of different comic book characters, right? They've done it with Batman, sometimes really excellent, sometimes not so much. They've done it with other characters as well. Kind of put them in different time periods, different versions of these characters, so we can see how that plays out and in a more period piece.
Yeah, did you see? Did you see Gotham by Gaslight? I really liked that one.
I did not see the animated movie Gotham, I guess. I have read the comic, though. I read the original comic.
And what did you think of it?
Really enjoyed it. It's very well done. Yeah.
Yeah, the animated movie. And you know, I got to give them credit for at least trying something different. You know, when Spider-Verse came out, everybody was clamoring for it, and Cage was awesome in the movie. I got to say, man, I laughed every time. Yeah. So kudos to them for trying, but I think there were some really major issues in the execution.
Well, before we dive in, I also want to get this comment from Gavin Unit. That's why the collectibles market is dead. 99.9 of figures and comics exist in mint condition. Is that the way it is now? I have stuff that like I always talk about this. I have Wolverine #1 from the limited series, and I have that one. I don't think that all the ones that came out then that everybody had it in mint condition. So the fact that I have that one like 9.8 CGC signed by a few people, that's a cool one to have, you know?
Yeah, and you know, Professor actually said something.
Good night, Ron.
That was really, he said, I can tell because they're on the shelves. Like for 40 years, you couldn't get a 4-inch Stormtrooper action figure to save your life. Like the second they rolled up on the shelves anywhere, like they sold out immediately. That's how you knew. And you go in now and you see an entire aisle of this stuff and nobody's buying it. I think a good Wolverine goes from 250 to 400, by the way. So
what, the #1 from back in those days? Yeah, that's if you don't have the signatures, but Stan Lee's signature and a few things give it a little extra, you know?
Oh, that'll give a lot of extra, actually. A lot. Yeah, that was the Frank Miller one. We read that when it came out, man. That was
Frank Miller signed it as well. I have a Frank Miller signature. I have
that could be worth thousands then.
Yeah, I mean, I have I think that I have Stan Lee, Frank Miller, Chris Claremont, and Joe Rubenstein. I think I have 4 signatures. So theoretically that should be worth a couple of grand.
Oh, easily. Did Klaus Janson do the ink on that one? I'm trying.
I don't think so, and he certainly didn't sign my comic book, but I don't think it's him that did it. I think that there's a few other names, and I don't have their signature, but I'm happy with the ones I have. I think I told this story before that my Wolverine #1, I had, I think, a few signatures, but I wanted to add more signatures. And I went to a convention, and I think Frank Miller was there or somebody, and I didn't realize that they were going to open the thing. You know what I mean? Like I already had it graded, so basically they opened it so that he could sign it. But once they open it and they need to, you know, put it back in a case, they don't automatically give you the 9.8. Now they reevaluate it. And I was super stressed because I said to myself, what if they reevaluated? And now they're like, no, it's not 98, 9.8, it's 96. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just worried now, and I really and I think that I had to leave it with them for a bit, and they have to send it to me. I don't remember what the whole process was. All I know is that after that whole experience, I said I am never letting anybody sign this again. Like it is what it is. I got these signatures. I'm not doing any more stuff with it.
Oh, well, you have the big ones. Rubenstein actually inked it, so the only one you'd be missing would be the colorist with Glynis Oliver, and I don't think that would change the value one bit. Hell, you got Stan Lee and Frank Miller. Those are the big ones.
And Chris Claremont, which I thought was good too, and Joe Rubenstein.
Yeah. So you got the writer and the drawer and the inker, like, and the head of Marvel. Nothing that you add to it now would add to the value. You've maxed it out. That's beautiful.
Right. And don't get me wrong, like don't think that I have a million of these type of things. That's like the only one that I have. And the reason did I ever tell you why I have it?
If you did, I don't remember.
Well, when I was a kid, I had the Wolverine limited #1. And when I was a kid, I actually read it and played around with it and whatever. It wasn't in good condition. It was like in poor condition. But I wanted my comic book and I couldn't find it. It was in an attic somewhere, and I couldn't locate it in the attic. And then I said to myself, "Okay, well, I'll just go online and buy one." You know, I'm a grown man. You know, that's what I said to him. I'm a grown man. I can go on eBay.
I'm a man.
I'm a man. I'm gonna go find it. And yeah, that's what I did. Let me just show people which is the one that I have. Wolverine limited series number 1. Love out of all the covers, you know, when it comes to comic books, when it comes to covers, I absolutely really like this cover. This is what
Yeah.
I like in a cover.
Yeah, it was very exciting when it came out, and I think this comic is the reason a few of us started taking kendo, actually.
So yeah, in any case, I said I'm a grown man and I'm gonna buy the comic book that I want. And then like I went to eBay and I was looking and looking, and then like I initially found something and it was like cheap and whatever, and it wasn't graded and it probably was like crappy quality. And then I was gonna buy it, and then I said, wait a minute, wait a minute, I'm not a kid anymore. You know what I mean? Now I'm an adult. I don't have to get the crappy crumpled one. I'm an adult. I can get like the fancier one. That's what I started saying to myself. Like now I'm like Mr. Big Time. I can spend there. See, when you're a kid, what you're gonna tell your parents, oh, I need to spend like $100 on it. Give me a few $100. Nobody's gonna give you that. But now, like I said, I don't owe anybody an explanation. I can get whatever I want. And then I looked and I said, okay, I'll get like you know, one that's in good condition. But then how do I know it's in good condition? Then it's CGC graded. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll get CGC grading. And I said, well, I don't need the best. You know, I can get like whatever is just normal. But then I started looking at it and it was like an itch that I had to scratch. And I'm like, I don't want to get like, what am I going to get? Like 9.4? Screw that. I'm not getting a 9.6. I'm not getting like a 7.8. I'm like, I'm going all in. Like, I'm getting at minimum a 98.8, you know, 9.8 or whatever it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting a 9.8. Now there are 9.9s, but I think that was already like, you know, maybe they were asking too much for that. 9.8, I allowed myself. I said I can do it. But then already I was prepared to it, and it was like, you know, a number of $100. I don't know how many already with the grading and with the thing. It's already like, you know, maybe it could be like 500, 600, 700. I don't know what it is. And then as I was looking, I saw that some of them were signed by Stan Lee. And again, I had this itch. I said to myself, like, what now? What, I'm not going to get Stan Lee's signature? I swear that is exactly what happened to me. I started with like the cheapest one, and I'm like, nope, okay, I'm not like I'm a grown man. I can buy the one with Stan Lee. Nobody can stop me. So I already, you know, I I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll tell you the truth. I put it in my saved. Like I was looking at it for a few weeks, and I kept checking it. I'm like, do I buy it or do I not buy it? Do I buy it or not buy it? And like the one with Stan Lee was already significantly more expensive. It wasn't like a gazillion dollars, but it was significantly more expensive than the original garbage one I was looking at. And then I was, you know, every day I was looking at it and considering it. And then I sat there, and a friend of mine, I was in the car with a friend, and then suddenly said, hey, did you hear what happened? And I said, what happened? He's like, Stan Lee just died. And I'm like, shit. And I swear, I know this is a strange instinct and it doesn't make any sense.
You
And
click buy.
the second he finished his sentence, I pulled out my phone and I clicked buy.
No, that
Hello,
was
everyone.
probably
Yep.
smart.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Thanks for having me. Great. Yep.
How can I be
Can
sure
we
that
ask-
Stan Lee actually signed it? It has like the comic book authority that they witnessed it and approved it. It's one that like has his approval. The one that I bought already had a few signatures, but it didn't have Frank Miller, and I wanted that. So that's when I had to go and they opened it up and had to regrade it. And like I said, I have those signatures. I'm never going to do that again. Like I
Yeah.
will take those 4. I'm 100% with it. I don't need any more.
Did it come back at 9.8?
Yeah, it came back at 9.8.
Phew.
It
Yeah, 'cause,
says
you know,
$5,000 for grade in the 9s with those signatures as the minimum.
Yeah, because what can
makes
happen
sense.
is, you know, when they sign it, they could screw up or bend a page, or because a 9.8, you know, I remember taking the train to go down to our local, you know, drugstore, down on the avenue where we shopped. It was like 3 stops on the, it was pretty quick, but it was before I could drive. So we were so psyched that this was coming out. Every week we went down, and I think 2 copies of all these. And then my buddy who would go with me, his mom threw out all his comics a few years ago, including Hulk 181. So she showed him, like, Whit, you got to come back and clean up your attic. I'm throwing out your books. So, but what a groundbreaking series! I think this is the second limited series. I think Hercules was the first limited series, if memory serves.
Yeah, most of these aren't even a 9.8 when they come out of the cutter. Like,
yeah,
by the time they're packed and boxed and sent to distribution, they're already like 9.6, 9.7. So to get one that good, yeah, like I said, it says for the CGC 9 and up, for like 5,000 is the absolute floor, and that's probably a 9.0. So you may be looking 10, 15 grand for that thing if you ever sell it. But okay,
price is rich.
No, I mean, I do think that at this point, when I look sometimes on eBay and stuff like that, I think that like 4 or 5 grand, because sometimes people have it, but they want to sell it or whatever it is. There aren't a million of them being sold, but we're not at the like 10 to 15 grand yet. But I will say this, that one of the reasons I think why I had it in my save thing and I pressed the button when I heard that Stan Lee died, I think in my mind, I was looking at also these kind of 9.8 that didn't have his signature. And I thought to myself, I can just go and get Stan Lee's signature myself. You know what I mean? I was saying, I really think that's what I was saying. I said to myself, fine, I'll get the cheaper one. I'll go to the convention. I'll get the thing. And I was saying all this nonsense. And then somebody's like, do you know he just died? And I'm like, shit. And I just clicked on it because I understood that also I wouldn't have I couldn't do that plan anymore. I can't buy the cheaper one and go have him sign it. I also wanted the experience of him signing it and all that stuff. But at the end, I'm just like, you know what? This is as good as it's going to get for me. Like, if I don't do this now, I just won't have another opportunity. So I was very sad that he died, but like my instinct was also that I had to buy the comic.
Yeah, I still think you're looking at. I still think you're looking. Well, there's one for 3,100 that's a 9.8 with those 3 signatures. So, and another for 5 grand with the same. So
I would say 4 to 5 grand is a reasonable ask for something like this. I hope that one day it'll be worth more, but for now, I'm happy with it, and I don't regret anything. Like, I did buy it for significantly cheaper than that. It didn't cost $1, but it still costs like cheaper than what we just said. And
you put it in the private chat. I got to know.
It's funny that all I can think of is that episode of The Simpsons where Lisa is looking for the album that Bleeding Gums Murphy put out. And she goes to the comic shop, and she's like, oh, she finds the copy. She's like, oh, I found it, but and then she says, well, I'm doing a tribute show because he just died. And the comic book guy goes, he's dead, and reaches in and grabs it and puts an extra 0 at the end of the price. And then puts it back.
Right.
What?
Oh,
well, yeah, because the person could have pulled the listing, but they probably didn't have time, or like they didn't even have time or didn't know.
The truth is, they didn't have time. See, if I would have waited another maybe 10 minutes, maybe something would have changed. But you know how today on Twitter and everything, you know everything immediately?
Yeah.
And I think the thing came up that minute. Like, he said, like, it just happened. Like, they announced he was dead. I clicked the button. So he could go back to YouTube and say, not to eBay and say, no, like, I didn't mean it. I meant to, like, to raise the price or whatever. But it becomes a difficult explanation that your listing has been listed for a certain amount and somebody bought it. And I think that, sure, I guess he could have tried to have canceled it, but it was too late. I paid for it.
Yeah, it would have. He would have taken a hit on the feedback. That's way worse than the extra money he would have made.
Right.
My most valuable comic I gave away as part of my 9-step amends. So I don't really have anything worth money anymore. But I did.
What'd you give away?
A first printing issue 1 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The black and white. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. There were only like 1,000 of them.
There are very few printed of those. Yeah.
Right.
I'm very sad that you did that, Estephobos.
No, I'm not sad. It needed to be done. I sort of like the ownership was, no, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So, and I got to be sober for,
Well,
30
that's
years.
good. No,
yeah,
I like the
and
sobriety
good
part.
on you for that.
Yeah, no, I
Estelle.
like the sobriety part, but there's a part of me
Yeah.
that feels that if you could have combined the sobriety with keeping that comic, it would have been like also a good scenario. But the sobriety is more important, so I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
Your health.
well,
Can't buy
Yep,
health.
and making amends is a big part of the process.
Making
Yeah,
amends
yeah.
is
An important part.
I didn't buy it. A friend ordered them for a bunch of us, but only one came in, and it kind of whined my way into being the one to have it. So I wasn't really proud of that in the first place. So I always felt like it belonged to both of us, but it really, I'll stick with my, I have a few Daredevils that are nice and in good condition, and I'll stick with those. Yeah, it had to be done. All I can say is my gut said, this really doesn't belong to you.
Yeah,
So.
it's important to know you did right by other people, and that's that's a good case of that.
My most angry comic book collecting story is, I'm a longtime collector, nerd. I did move out of my parents' basement, thankfully, and got married and had kids, but miraculously. But I had a poll. You have a poll list for those of you that probably everyone here knows.
Oh,
you
yes.
have a poll, you have
I had a poll list for a while. For a little
it's
while.
not, don't get the wrong connotation. It's for comics. And so, I've got Incredible Hulk on my pull list for, I'm collecting all the Todd McFarlane, Hulk like 300. I've been I think I have almost every Hulk issue from like 250 up. And, the McFarlane one comes out 340, right? With the famous, Wolverine on the cover.
Yeah.
Right? So I go to get it, and the guy's like, "Oh well, sorry, we sold out of those." I'm like, but it's on my pull list, it's like the SOB. And our buddy Clobbering times would tell me, like, sometimes a lot of stores were known to do that if a comic came out. And I should have bought it back then. Now I'm looking at it now; it's like $300 to $2,000. Like the bastard. But at least the guy went out of business. I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, I get the Hulk every month. What's going on here? He's like, "Oh well, it was shorted because of popularity." I'm like, "You bastard! You took it for yourself and resold it." So thankfully he went out of business. But I get so angry every time I see that book.
I love the back matter on this comic. This absolutely famous, legendary issue is Megaforce.
Barry Bostwick.
Yep.
Oh.
Was he married to? Was he married to Barbara Streisand? Or no, is he married to Barbara Streisand? Or is
Chuck
that
Norris?
guy?
No, I don't.
No, Barry Bostwick. This is Barry Bostwick.
Is he married to Barbara Streisand?
Well, now it's James Brolin, isn't it?
Yeah, Brolin right? Was married.
But was he married? Was he married? Who was Bostwick married to? Whatever. But yeah, that was one of the big, huge flops, and they kept pushing that movie, the market.
Stacey Nelkin.
Oh, okay.
So he's married to.
All right, I'm mixing it.
So is the photos. I wanted to tell you, this one has 6 signatures. 3 of them I have, and I think they're asking for like $8,000. However, they have more signatures than me, which is good, but they don't have Frank Miller, and I think Frank Miller is worth something. So I don't think
that's. Yeah, I think that's the number. That's even more important than Stan Lee.
Well,
yeah, the artist is first.
I still don't think mine is 8K, but I will say realistically, and just the fact that you say you want 8K doesn't mean you'll get it. I think the 4 to 5 is a realistic amount. It's my only really valuable one that I have. I don't think that I have anything else in this ballpark. The funny thing is that when I was looking on eBay at the same time, there's like the Wolverine that came afterwards, not the limited series, but like just a comic of Wolverine. And number 1 of that I saw for like, there was like a listing that says this is in really good condition and Chris Claremont signed it. And it was like for a ridiculously low price. And I'm just like, you know what, let's just buy it. Let's see what it is. And I actually got it, and it's in really good condition, and Chris Claremont signed it. The problem is it's not as if he signed it because he didn't do it with the CGC. So it's as if he never signed it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't prove it. Yeah. Now, I have a lot of books from the comic book store that I would shop at, and they would get, so I'm looking at my back wall, and I've got the Infinity Gauntlet all signed, and I've got a bunch of books, but when I went to get them signed, I I have like the piece of paper. Like back then, I think it was like you had the worst cell phones, pictures, but like it was more just to meet George Perez, and I think I've told the story
Yeah.
before how he wasn't supposed to do
Yeah,
sketches,
yeah,
and my son asked, well, one thing you got to watch when you get book signed too is you got to tell them where to sign it. So Joe Rubenstein trashed one of my Infinity Gauntlets because he signed like right over the Silver Surfer because I was getting
Oh
all the
God.
signatures on him. I'm like, Mother Fuddrucker, why did you sign your name there? It's
Oh.
like of all places, like you ruin. And it's I can't get George Perez again unless I get Doc Brown's time machine. So it was like, oh, it was like, no, don't sign there. And you're just the color. I'm like, no offense, but
Yeah. I took all of my. I drove 3 states away and brought all my Teen Titans to get Perez's signature. And when I got there, I was informed it's $500 a pop.
What?
And I had the first 30 Teen Titans. No, for Perez, yeah.
He was charging $500.
Or the convention was. Somebody was.
Oh, the convention, yeah, because it was free with this comic book shop. I got like 50 books signed by George Perez that day. Finally, Andy's like, just give me your stack. I'll sign them all.
But did you get the CGC to confirm them, or you only have the signature for yourself?
Just for myself, because there was no CGC was in its infancy then, and I just have the thing that says like George Perez coming to a timeless journey in Stamford, Connecticut. So I have that in the book, like that I was there, and I have a couple. I don't even know if I have any pictures of him there that day. So I guess you can't. But the other thing is too. I mean, the other BS thing about this too is there's signature experts too, so they can examine a signature. I think it's a money grab by CGC in some ways to say that we can't.
It definitely
unless we can see them signing the signature. It's like, come on, we have people that's all they do is look at historical documents and they validate signatures.
Yeah, they can they have handwriting experts that can validate. Plus, you just need like a selfie or something of them signing it too. That works, but I was it was one of those little mini Comic-Con, like Comic-Con, Murfreesboro or some weird little and like I said, that was the primary reason I drove all the way up there. We still had fun. I took the kids, but I was just like 500, but like, because that was only a few years ago. What?
For one book?
Well, it was per signature, and I brought like the first 30 Teen Titans, but just in case.
Yeah.
I was only going to ask them to do, really the issue 1. That's the only, valuable one. But I don't know. I did get to meet. Neil Adams was there too, so that was kind of cool.
He's great, God.
Yeah. He's he's all he was drawing was Harley Quinn's for some reason, and that's all anybody wanted. It was just like Harley Quinn spilling out of her tights all over the place for 3 days. It was crazy. Like I would get him to buy I would do draw me a Green Lantern, Green Arrow, man. That was your but everybody just wanted a Harley.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Harley, I watched the first few episodes of this Spider-Noir. I wanted to watch all of the. I wanted to watch all of it before doing the stream. I only watched a couple of episodes, but I think that I can at least give the general impression of how I feel about the show. Did you guys get a chance to watch any of this?
I didn't know. I was at a dinner tonight for like a charity dinner. Damn it!
I watched all 8 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm
Professor.
I'm halfway through. I got through 4 episodes. Started a 5th one, got interrupted, and I wasn't able to come back to it. But through the first half. Yeah.
Without dwelling into details, just give me Professor and Ista. Give me your just initial instincts. If you had to sum it up in a few words, how you felt about it. Professor, what do you feel about it?
It's interesting. I like Nick Cage in it. I think it's got a lot of problems that have to do with the way that it was filmed. The script itself is actually pretty decent. The dialogue is pretty decent. But there's some issues with the casting and with the way that it's filmed, to where this is supposed to be a noir. It doesn't feel like a noir. Right. It feels like a much more modern production. So, I'm sure Ista has some other thoughts too.
Shout out to Rumble because I think they've featured our stream, which we're
cool.
always very grateful. Thank you so
140
much.
and climbing.
Nifty.
Nice.
Rumble is the headquarters for the Night Owl. I even have a special design thing that I want to show that I sometimes share with you. Unfortunately, because of this thing, which I'm going to stop sharing for a second, the Night Owl on Rumble, that's the headquarters for this show. Rumble is a fantastic platform for freedom of speech. And if you're watching through the app, but you haven't already signed up, you should sign up for Rumble. And once you do that, the only logical thing to do is also to follow us. So that way, when we stream, you'll be with us forever. So, which is what you've always wanted. And I want to thank Rumble for the opportunity and everything, and for the feature. And again, really enjoy working with this platform and like what they do here. So just wanted to put that out there. And Spider-Noir. Ista, you were talking, and I believe I interrupted you.
Oh no, I didn't start. That's okay. Okay, first of all, I've been doing black and white photography for over 50 years. You just can't film something in color and turn it into black and white. The costuming, the lighting, and the camera needs to be specific. I started watching this in black and white, and it looked awful. If you've ever watched any real Billy Wilder, noir movies, so I switched to color, and it actually looked good. It had this Sin City, Dick Tracy vibe. I think it really worked in color, but
there's a lot of places, like when you're working with black and white, like you were saying. You have to be filming it for black and white. You have to have the costuming so that you get all of the gradations of different blacks and grays and whites. You got to be working a lot with light and shadow and stuff and contrast for it to really pop. And I was watching this in black and white, and then I kind of switched over and watched in color. While the black and white is, of course, it's supposed to be a period piece, whatever. The rest of the production doesn't connect with it being in black and white.
It's too there's not enough contract, and like you said, there's none of the noir shadows. Now, I was trying to figure out a name to call this because it's really Spider DEI noir. The thing that struck me immediately was the diverse casting, the body positive casting.
Wildly, yes.
And they don't start really going on full girl boss until the middle, but by the time the ending, you kind of think that she was the main character. The secretary saves the day. This 300-pound Latina woman is basically pulling Spider-Man's ass out of the fire. Now, I did like Nicolas Cage. He was really channeling his inner Humphrey Bogart. He was mostly doing a good job, but I couldn't stop thinking how old he looked. He was like, look, 80 years old, man. It was like, and they were doing something with the makeup and maybe the light. I don't know if they did any de-aging, but sometimes his face just didn't look right. Now, the costume looked amazing. Some of the web slinging scenes through the city looked really good, but this occurs at least half in the daytime, and you can't have Spider-Man Noir in the daytime. It's like filming an Alien movie, in full daylight. It doesn't work. I was less impressed with the dialogue. The acting was really inconsistent. Some of the dialogue was really good, and some of it was all modern, it was all modern language. It didn't.
There is too much of that. Yes, there is. There's way too much of that.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Immersed in the 30s, and then the acting really uneven. Like the little kid who's a significant part, the newsboy, he's terrible. And even Brendan Gleeson, I found Brendan Gleeson. He's one of my favorite actors. Man, that guy is amazing. But I'm like kind of falling asleep. Granted, it was late, but honestly, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but I was just boring. And I realized, I got suckered in again. They have a 2-hour movie and they want to get 8 hours of viewing time for me by just stringing it out. And like they had some of the villains. I saw what they were trying to do with Electro, who's called Megawatt. It's actually like a D-lister. There's another electrical character. I just thought of him as Electro. but he didn't quite act his way over the top. I did like the guy who played Flint the Sandman, but man, it's just all of his scenes were like, I'm in such agony, I'm in love, but I'm a monster, look at my emotional pain. And then of course they had all these diverse characters talk about how they're treated by white people, and I'm like, okay, this is 19, just I'm so over that shit. So
would they even talk about it back then like that?
No,
no, not at
right?
all.
I don't think they would. But I want to first of all, Professor, give me a few sentences about just initial thoughts.
Oh well, I did. Yeah, I mean what I said. Yeah, it's is solid in some aspects, in others not so much. It is the black and white, while clever, and fitting with the time, does not work well. I think it's better in color. Just stick to the color version. And in fact, I think it's got a little bit more life to it. And given the fact that this was not filmed as a noir, it's not using those techniques. It's not using the lighting and everything well like it would in a picture of the time. Like, you might as well just watch it in color.
So they like Godzilla -1, I went to see the black and white version, which I thought was phenomenal, but they had to do all the color, well, quote unquote, not color correcting, but grayscale correcting, or they actually went back and tweaked the movie for black and white, like you're saying. So yeah, I'm kind of an amateur photographer myself.
I don't feel that they did any of that.
You don't think
here.
they did this? Yeah, so
No.
Godzilla -1, they spent a lot of time to get the black and white version right, and in some ways, I think that black and white version looked better. I've got it playing in the background. It looks very rubbery and plasticky in this grayscale.
Well, you know how you go into like one of those video editing software, and there's a button that you click black and white. I feel like that's what they did with Spider-Noir. And I, like you guys, I prefer to watch it in color. And I was also thinking to myself, like Dick Tracy. And I think that I agree with actually both you, Estefobos, and with you, Professor. I saw less than the both of you. I saw like 2 episodes. But I will tell you what I thought even watching it. First of all, the number one thing, and it doesn't make me happy to say this, but Nicolas Cage, like you said, Estefobos, way too old to play this role. Nicolas Cage, I like him as an actor, and I think like 20, 30 years ago, this would have been like 100% in his wheelhouse. It would have been great to see him do the role. There are moments that you could significantly tell that he's an older Nicolas Cage, and in that sense, I feel like it's a role that was right for him, but was given to him far after he needed to play it. Just my personal opinion. And I also agree, if they would have done a movie, a proper movie like 20, 25 years ago with Nicolas Cage in this role, and they would have done like a 2-hour Sin City / Dick Tracy type of movie, would have been perfect for it. The other thing is, and I agree with both you and Istafobos and the Professor, listen, I'm not such a nitpicky person. It's not that if I see like diversity or things like that, or women doing stuff, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. It's like I don't have anything against it. However, when it's a period piece, when you do so much of it, it starts to kind of, you lose some of the believability of whatever they're trying to show you. And yes, I understand that it's it's a fantasy, but even so, it's grounded in some historical events. If this is supposed to be happening during the Depression, I don't think
and World War One and all of these other thing. Yeah.
There were not. I'm going to be, and again, I know there's a few ladies that watch this stream, and I hope they'll stay, even in spite of what I'm about to say. That I think that back in those days, if you ever look at footage of people walking around in like the 1930s, you know how sometimes you see like old footage that somebody like put a camera and they're walking around on the street. Most of those ladies are thin. Okay. That lady was a very plus size woman. I'm not saying that there were no plus size women there. I'm just saying that it wasn't as commonplace. And for her to be a Latina plus sized woman and his secretary in 1930, the odds of that happening are virtually zero.
During the Depression.
During the Depression. It is so unbelievable. But then, it's not even in one case that they're like, well, that was one anomaly that happened there. The Mr. Big Time Reporter guy, whatever, is, a black guy, which it doesn't. if you made a movie about something that happened in the 90s and the 2000, 2010 and the 80s, you could do all of that. But if you're going to make a movie about the 1930s, that does not ring true. So you have already like the plump plus size Latina woman. You have this guy, which again, 2026, you're making a modern day show, no problem at all. You're doing it in 1930 in a certain locale. It just doesn't ring true. And I hate that I'm in this position that I have to say that, because
Yeah.
I don't care. I think it's great. I think people, from all backgrounds should get opportunities. And I don't have anything bad to say about that in general. I just don't understand why, if it's a period piece, why they're always so gung ho about doing stuff like that. And speaking of gung ho,
Yeah. I know where you're going.
the femme fatale was an Asian woman. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny about that whole thing is that if you wanted to cast actually a black woman in the show, I think that her being like a singer at a lounge would have probably been the most realistic out of all of these things that you want to try to do. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I think
absolutely. Because
Yep.
Billie Holiday, like we had real real singers,
right.
very
So
inauthentic casting.
if you wanted to be authentic to the time and diverse, the singer should have been a black woman who sings at this kind of jazz club. Would have been a perfect fit. And you could even bring an actress that can sing. In this case, they brought an actress who I'm not sure can sing very well. She wasn't also, and there's one thing that I can say is that sometimes if you want to break ceilings and, whatever you want to call it, I don't, not break ceilings, maybe that's not the word I'm looking for, but if you want men to overlook a casting that doesn't make sense for a certain era, the hotter the woman is,
Yes.
the more men could be fooled into thinking that perhaps there was a hot woman walking around in 1930s, because men like hot women, so you could fool them. But when you bring a woman that she's not like the hottest, and she's not the best singer, and it doesn't seem like she would be doing that at that moment. I don't know how many Asian girl bossy singers and jazz languages there were at that time. So when I saw that, I'm like, well, I don't know about that either. And it annoys me because I shouldn't even be thinking about this stuff. It's not like, because then it's exactly that ammunition that people are like, oh, you don't like this, you don't like that. It's not true. I like everything. Asian women are great. Like I think it's great. Put them in all, like, new productions, and especially if they look nice, bring a lot of them. I'm all about that. And I just, if they're doing this thing, it has to be more accurate to the time. You know what it reminded me of? Did you guys see the Perry Mason reboot?
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
So yeah, they did some kind of Perry Mason reboot, and in the Perry Mason reboot, I don't know if you remember this, he was basically the original Perry Mason, the one that's in black and white, like the original show. He's almost like a superhero that's a lawyer. Like nobody could ever get anything past him. He solves every problem. He's like the man. He's like the best in court. Nobody can like go up against him because he's the best. And like he's always like dismantling everybody. He's the smartest guy in the room. They did this thing like this reboot, and for HBO, I don't know, probably like already 7-8 years ago. I don't know when it was. The whole first season, he's a complete bum. He's an alcoholic, jerk off, deadbeat father, idiot. That is just a miserable asshole.
He's a wreck.
Sorry,
he's a wreck.
Yeah,
he's a wreck. He is the biggest loser in town. And then what happens is that his secretary, Della Street, which in the original one, like this, his secretary like worships him. In this one, his secretary is like telling him what to do all the time, and she's not in love with him or anything, which seems to be the case in the original one, even though she doesn't really say it, but it always seems that way. In this one, she doesn't like him at all. She thinks he's like a jerk off idiot. She's into the ladies. She has affairs with ladies, and it doesn't end there. You think, well, they did one character that's kind of like, a rainbow character. So you have another, his nemesis, the guy that's like the district attorney on the real show. In this version of it, he's also rainbow character. So he's flanked by two rainbow characters that are much more competent and smart than he is. And he's an alcoholic, deadbeat father bum. This is all true. I'm not making it up.
And
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then in
that's
the
what it
original
was.
Perry
Yeah.
Mason, you have like this cop that's like this like older, gritty white guy that's like helping him solve his cases. No more. Now it's like a black man who has to put up with a lot of bad things happening to people. You know, to him, if you understand what I'm saying, he's treated very unfairly in society. But he's working for Perry Mason, and also he's smarter than him because he's not a bum like Perry Mason. So Perry Mason, the only reason he could even get by from day to day and even sort of pretend that he knows how to do something is because there's like all these like rainbow people and diverse people around him doing everything for him while he looks like an idiot. And when I watched that first season, I thought, okay, well, by the end of the season, he's going to be the man. You know what I mean? And by the end of the first season, the way he becomes a lawyer is he cheats on his test. And, you know, basically they give him the answers in advance so he could pretend that he's a lawyer, even though he's an idiot. And I'm like,
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. And I think that once the second season came, I thought there would be a time jump and maybe they like now he'd be the man in court and I'm like maybe he'll be Perry Mason. And then like I watched it and he was a bum again and I'm like that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, I
It was
don't think
good
it lasted much. Oh, Price, I haven't answered your question. There were Asian torch singers, jazz singers in the 1930s. They were all in Asia.
Yeah, they were.
But there were plenty. Can I give a quick shout out? So there was a 1972 Philip Marlowe movie starring Elliot Gould. It was done in color, but it was noir and it really like felt legitimately noir. And then HBO did a Philip Marlowe series. I think it was like early 1980s, also in color. It was only 1 year. Again, like even though it's in color, it was all noir, the dialogue, the costumes, everything. And they're both really good. I mean, the Elliot Gould one is like, you know, one of the top movies of all time kind of thing. But the TV shows starred what Powers Booth as Marlowe. And so I know even if you have daytime, even if you have color, you can make a legitimate noir film. But this didn't feel noir. As Professor's right. But if they had gone the Sin City Dick Tracy route, I think they could have. I think they could have done something. But my biggest problem, the flaw, was the writing, and of course, it was a 2-hour movie. They didn't have any more material, so you just feeling them stretch it out, and you're unsatisfied. So you watch the next one, then the next one, and next thing you know, you're held hostage for an entire day watching this thing.
I forgot to tell you one
happens.
thing. I forgot to tell you one thing that it was important to me. There's two things that are very, very important to me to point out. That Perry Mason, in addition to everything I said, his landlord is a Latina woman who's plump, and in addition to being late on the rent, he also drinks with her, and he's like kind of banging her. But it's not as impressive as you'd like that to be. You know what I mean? Like
It's
somehow
like
like
the mercy thing, right? It's
right, it's like it's not
yeah.
cool at all. Like I watched it and I'm like, this is who they set him up with. Like he's the star. He's Perry Mason. Aren't there like nice ladies and stuff? Like nothing personal against the plump. And why would a Latina woman be his landlord in like the 30s or whatever it was? Didn't make any sense at all. And the cherry on the icing is, at least in the first season, Tatiana Maslany was in it. And I feel like anytime you see Tatiana Maslany in a show, you know that there's trouble.
Yeah,
It's like, didn't Mike Hammer have a really gorgeous girlfriend? Was Stacy Keach? I love that Mike Hammer TV show. There were always gorgeous women on that show, if memory serves.
And Della Street in the original Perry Mason was a babe, man. She was beautiful.
Right. I mean, they did everything really annoying. It was such a. I don't know what year that Perry Mason came out, but I'll tell you this. I think I was a little more. What'd you say?
2020 to 2023. It only lasted 16 episodes, 2 seasons.
Right, 2 seasons, because I think that the first season I was gullible enough to watch it, and somehow like I kept thinking that they're going to course correct it. But today, like after 5 minutes of the first episode, I probably would just turn it off. It's just in that case, I still had hope. I'm like, they're not going to make Perry Mason look stupid, are they? And man, was I wrong. So yeah,
They've always got to deconstruct our heroes, right? They can't just let them be or do that classic show. Or the other thing that's like Bridgerton does the same thing too. My better half was watching. I'm like, and it's set, way in the past. I'm like, well, why do they have minorities as like royalty? I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, well, they're just rewriting, basically rewriting history. But I'm
Rewriting.
like, but then then you're ignoring all the discrimination and what happened too when you've got so it's almost like this fantasy world where
Yeah.
it'd be great. Yeah, discrimination didn't exist, 100 plus years ago, but it did. And why are all these characters playing all these roles? It make
in depression era United States, a black man walking into the white editor's office and demanding that he have a full job there as a as a paid journalist, whatever. Like, no.
Yeah, I want to ask you guys, did you notice in the show, even when they show a regular couple, like he goes in, he pretends he's like the couple, it's always the dumb man getting corrected and berated by his very intelligent wife.
Yeah.
Like,
to be fair, it's the same couple every time. But yes,
another thing is that the Asian quote unquote femme fatale. It used to be in the past when you have a femme fatale, she knows she's like the object of men's desire. She plays into that, so she's sort of sexy, but also maneuvering you because she knows she has the appeal. They brought an actress here who isn't really of the caliber of being that kind of actor of character. And her behavior is like 2026, like, you go girl, I'm the big boss bitch lady. And it's like, it doesn't fit here. It doesn't fit here at all. I don't believe this. And that's an issue that I had with it. Like, it can't be that like he's the idiot and the lounge singer Asian lady is like 10 times like smarter than him and he's so stupid. Like, I don't know. It kind of bothered me. Again, there have been worse things that I've seen than Spider-Noir. It's not that I looked at it and I thought this is the worst thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't the slam dunk that I wanted it to be. I didn't watch it thinking, wow, this is fantastic. I thought, well, this is okay. That's what I thought when I watched those 2 episodes. Okay, it's better than being like a complete disaster, but it was agenda driven, and it's not that it was agenda driven and fantastic. It was agenda driven and rather mediocre in addition to that. Not a disaster, but not the best.
Yeah, and you are right, Price, when you said earlier, you're talking about it's like, well, okay, so they did this one, race blind casting or whatever. Oh yeah, they put in this one diverse character. Okay, what all right, whatever. There's a cumulative effect though, right? There's this cumulative effect where it's like, okay, well, they did this one, and they did that one, and they did this other one. And then you look around and you realize, like, yeah, the whole cast, like, it doesn't really make sense for the production. Like, it just doesn't, like there's all of these little issues that pile up to where you're like, yeah, this is full of ideology and whatever.
I will give it this. I was surprised. I forget her name. It was like Kat something, the lounge singer.
Yeah.
They actually had her in love with a man. Like, that was shocking enough. Like, I didn't believe it. But that's the thing. They want to have it both ways. They want to claim victimhood and claim discrimination now, but also erase it from history. Like, you can't have that both ways, but of course they can, and they try. And nothing about this show felt authentic. I think if I had to sum it up in one sentence, it would be nothing really felt authentic.
That's a big problem, and I want to answer Mark's question, and I'm going to answer it and probably risk losing. I keep saying the 3 ladies that watch this channel. The 3 ladies are very strong women, the ones that listen to this stream, because I've said a lot of strange things and they're still here. So I give them props, but I always worry that maybe one comment of mine will finally send them over the edge. But I want to answer what Mark said about Bridgerton. The thing is, I think that, and I'm going to choose my words carefully, I'm not saying that all ladies fall into this category, but I think that ladies are more quick to be sort of forgiving when it comes to that stuff. If there's a man and there's a woman and relationships and they're talking about their feelings and there's like sappy violins and there's all this nonsense, then they'll look at it as some kind of fantasy and they don't care that, like, doesn't make any sense. It's not like us dudes that are watching some kind of comic book property or a period piece or something. Like, we kind of look at things differently. even women may look at things differently if it's different genres, but the genre of like fantasy, handsome men, like, banging women or whatever it is in some like fantasy setting, I think that the ladies are more forgiving. If they think that the guys are handsome and there's all these affairs and feelings being discussed, I think that a lot of women are more forgiving. That's what I'll say. Men operate differently, and men selling them this idea. Also, keep in mind, we don't get the hot women. You know what I mean? Bridgerton is trying to bring men that women will think are attractive. But when we get this kind of like, modernization of the casting, they usually don't bring super hot women. Imagine, like, for example, Spider-Noir's secretary is Isa Gonzalez or whatever her name is. And she's walking in every day into the office looking super hot.
Oh,
I
damn,
think
I'll take that. I'll take that.
we'd probably, there
Or
would
Indy
be
Navarette.
there would be a voice in my head that says, hey, like, were there hot Latin women in the 1930s
Of course
in
there
this
were.
office? But the other voice would say, like, shut up, who cares?
But that's
You could
that's
fool
part
me
of the
too.
fantasy. That's
It's
part
not
of the
just ladies with
fantasy.
Bridgerton. You could fool me as well. But to bring a woman who is like, and I have nothing against the actress, but a plus size woman, in that situation, you understand.
Dimensionally challenged. I prefer,
Yes.
But, that's
Yeah.
I want to say one final comment, and
go
I
ahead.
know now the last lady. This is the final stand. Ladies are going to be running towards the door now. But I'll say that even the plump lady, it's not that she looked like Isa Gonzalez, but Isa Gonzalez after she gained a few pounds. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
yeah, she wasn't pretty, but it's realistic. Even back during the worst of discriminate, like pretty people got treated better than ugly people, and if they're really hot enough, you can actually see there's a little bit of realism that they would get special treatment. When Vanessa Williams played Calypso in the 1990 version of the Odyssey, nobody said a damn thing except "You go, girl!" Wow, like you can get. You're right, but I'm saying not only does it not bother the men viewers, but that's the kind of thing, historically speaking, that actually happened. And the other thing is Bridgerton is made for a female audience, and women are typically just, they don't really care. You never hear them arguing about D-Day and historical accuracy.
Yeah.
Right?
What my wife said the
Just
same
like
thing.
the dancing and the costumes and the romance. Yeah.
When I complained about it, she's like, why do you care about that? Just watch it. And I'm like, because it's totally wrong. Like, remember, it was a Sherlock Holmes show, and royalty, I'm forgetting which, it doesn't matter which one it was, but the royal carriage is going through the slums, and one of the guardians or the footsman like gets in a fight with a street urchin, and she's an Asian street urchin. She starts yelling at this guard, like, you foot soldier, like, you can't do this. I'm like, if this was, 1880 in London, they're getting out and beating the crap out of you. The prince was in the carriage. It's like,
Yeah.
And like, what kind? And she's like showing her agency and going off. I'm like, she's street urchin. This is the prince is in the carriage. You'd probably be dead.
Oh, and you bring up an interesting point. I just want to.
We have a very important comment from Lucy Meow, which sounds like a woman. So Bridgerton is a clown show for middle-aged women with or without a cat. I thought that was an interesting comment. And she also wrote, Lupita's Calypso would also work. She just doesn't work as Helena. Interesting.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think a 50-year-old anybody works for Calypso. But I did want to say, remember, like back in the 30s and the 20s and earlier, white people that were poor, they didn't have agency either. It's not like every single person who was white like had this privilege. It was much more a greater economic divide. And especially during the Depression, if you were dirt poor, you got treated as bad as everybody else.
Yeah, money's the prime mover. Yeah.
Okay.
And class.
You know how sometimes I told you they have thing where they put a camera in the street and they filmed what people looked like in the 1930s. Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm going to show you what they looked like. Hopefully, I don't know.
You know what I love at watching the old baseball games, and every guy's got a hat and a suit and a jacket. Yeah, all decked out. We look like bums today.
Okay. this is what the people look like. This is what the street looked like. This is what the people look like. Just so you know, men and women were a lot thinner then.
And they did it without Ozempic.
Yeah, I think that maybe we'll run, maybe a few will be like plumper or whatever. But generally speaking, the average woman is not plump. You know what I mean? They all look very similar, and they're not so plump.
Well, even the larger ones are just big framed as opposed to just being really overweight.
Yeah, they didn't have all that processed food and the garbage and the you were eating much healthier. And then you.
I mean, look at the men here. They're all walking. They're like nice with their suits and like they're not fat. I mean, the women also very proper. They're all like I'm sure there's a woman somewhere who was like more plus size, but it's not a thing. I think that most of these ladies, for the most part, look like at least not plump.
And notice how many more men there are just on a city street during the day.
And they seem to be like pleased with themselves and like, walking around, they're calm, they feel good about themselves. It's a different time. They know that like everything is okay. They don't have anything to worry about.
Listen, when I was a kid in the 70s, we didn't know any fat people. Like when I think back on my childhood, there was this one motorcycle biker guy called the Bear, and he was big. He might be, but I don't even think he was fat like by today's standards. But I was just thinking, it wasn't really a thing until the 80s.
This really calms me down. Like when I see what things look like in 1930s, I feel like I would fit in here. You know what I mean? Like this, I feel like I'd walk around and everybody would just, I would blend in.
Is this San Francisco, like the street? Oh no, I guess Ontario, New York.
I think it's New York.
The streetcar, the trolley. That's kind of cool. Yeah, it looks too flat for San Francisco.
Yeah, it's New York.
Yeah, there are really no flat streets at all until you get down at the water.
Yeah, look how dressed, how well dressed people are too. And you feel better when you're dressed up too, right? I mean, we don't dress up.
Everything feels very official. You don't see all this like garbage on the ground. If there's already like a stand that they're selling newspapers, everything feels really serious. You can tell that this man with his newspapers takes what he does super seriously. Everybody, there's just a different vibe here. I like this vibe.
I was watching the Family Guy Star Wars, and I think it was Lando comes in the Millennium Falcon. He's wearing a suit, and he's like, I still like to dress up to fly. It's still a thing. And I'm like, yeah, people have flip-flops.
Look at these ladies. Look at these ladies.
Oh, they're on strike?
Oh, what are they striking about?
They have some placards. I'm just wondering if they're on strike. The placards.
Yeah, it says lockout.
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably some suffragette stuff, yeah.
But even that's relatively calm.
Yeah, there's guys wearing them too, though, so it might just be, one of those Upton Sinclair things.
Yeah.
This feels very half-hearted, you know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah, we're on strike, but there's no one there with purple hair or riding.
Right, they're not with purple hair. They're not bothering people, they're not
getting
in
anybody. They're not getting in anybody's face. That's the big thing.
Exactly. They're just kind of like, we have a sign. The other guy's like, yeah, those dum-dums have a sign, and they just keep walking. And this is. Look at these ladies. They took their.
And no one's heavy. Yeah.
So that's
LL very
Fox.
Seriously. Yeah.
You know what this kind of reminds me of?
IJ Fox looks like.
Oh, okay.
IJ Fox, Fifth Avenue workers. Workers of IJ Fox, Fifth Avenue, are locked out. CIC.
I like what Trev Tunar said here. People had class and dignity back then. Yes, it's like they're all very proper. All the people walking here, like this is, it's a different feeling. Like they take themselves very seriously. And you know what? Maybe that wasn't a bad thing. Maybe it wasn't bad that they were so serious about their affairs. Everybody's dressed proper.
The people who wanted to be part of proper society had to have some respect for themselves and
dress to impress.
Dress appropriately.
Going out in public was different back then. I agree with you. I would prefer that we all go back to this, and I'll make the effort. I'll wear the hat. I'll wear like the trench coat and the honestly, I kind of wear stuff like that now. I mean, not like these guys. I'm not all proper, but I'm into that kind of thing, and I'll make the effort so that people, can look at me and feel that I am one of the crowd.
You want to know what the strike was about? It's the I.J. Fox strike of the 30s was a major labor action in New York City's fur industry, involving primarily Jewish and Italian immigrant workers. As one of the largest fur retailers, I.J. Fox was known for poor working conditions, low wages, and leading employees to join the International Fur Workers Union and demand better treatment. The strike erupted during the Great Depression, a period of widespread labor unrest, and it quickly escalated into a fierce conflict. Okay, so at some point this actually did get violent.
So maybe, but not here. And Darren is asking me that I don't go racist if I go back in time, and obviously I won't. That's not the part that I want to embrace. I'm just saying I like the official vibe. I like that they take what they do seriously. And yeah, I don't know about this strike. I wouldn't get involved in that, but
Well, there was a lot less crime back then, that's for sure, and you didn't get let out if you
Right.
committed 30 crimes, right? You know, so
Well, you might get involved if you were one of the workers and were really like subject to terrible conditions. And I mean, I think this is when labor unions actually mattered and were important because
Yes.
people weren't treated correctly.
yeah, there were
right.
sweatshops.
Caleb Levine says Price wears a trench coat now, but with nothing underneath. That is true. So, yeah.
The other thing that's
They're 35. They're fighting for 35 cents an hour.
yeah.
But you know what?
On
Even
their side.
these guys that are on strike, they are doing it with purpose. Look at how official they look. Like, nobody is wearing sweatpants here. Nobody's, like, wearing just some, like, crappy...
Chanting idiotic, swear-riddled,
Right, like,
chants and stuff like that.
Right. Even this looks like there's some order here. You know, they're doing it. You know, maybe you said it still became violent, and I'm sorry to hear that, but generally speaking, this tells me a lot about the time. See
the
the
guys-
guys...
The guys tipping their hats to the camera.
tipping their hat.
Yeah.
The other thing this reminds me of too is being in Europe. Like I was Rome a couple of years ago, and I was probably definitely the biggest guy there. Like there are no heavy people in Rome or in Europe in general. You know, it's not
All
a
the
stereotype,
people are
but
relatively thin
they're-
here.
they're very thin. And the other thing too, like one of we're there with some of my kids' friends visiting my son who was there semester abroad. Like he wore flip-flops and shorts out one day, and everyone kept looking at him like in Rome. You weren't supposed to wear shorts and flip-flop. You know, you kind of had to. You were supposed to kind of dress up a little bit, and he kept getting looks. You know, like you just don't wear shorts over there out.
Yeah, I miss when people acted with decorum and dignity. That's all we're asking. We don't want the racism. We don't want the horrible treatment and ostracism. But we do want people to behave themselves and obey the law and not ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, just have
Just
some respect
quickly,
for society, some respect for each other, some respect for themselves.
I want to be
this is
nice.
why we
I
can't have
want to be
nice
nice and
things.
give credit. I don't know if these people restored it, but this NASS channel that did some remastering here, and I think probably colored it and color work. So I'm just giving the credit because I don't want to be. I don't want to be one of those people. And I'm not going to mention any names, and Ista don't mention any names. I don't want to be one of those people that says like, you know, let's take a look at this video. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'll
this
look it
channel,
up.
NAS specializes in restoration of old footage, and so they will go through.
Nice job.
They use some AI network neural network tools, software to do camera stabilization, speed correction, contrast adjustments, color additions, and stuff. And then they use some AI to generate ambient sounds and stuff for it as well.
They do a very nice job.
I've seen a number of their work before. In fact, when I looked at my account, I realized I follow them. Oh yeah, I must have seen some of their stuff a long time ago. And yeah, I think I do remember some old footage from San Francisco or something that I was watching that was just fascinating. Like they had used AI to restore it, and it's like, wow, like so cool.
I got the link. I'm putting it in the chat for both of them so they can get proper credit.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just I don't want to seem like I was a douche, but yeah. And then this is in Chicago in the 30s. So this could also be comparable. I thought there was one with some ladies. Let me see. I don't know. The lighting isn't so good in this one. It's not as well done as the other one, but in any case, we looked at it. I think this was a very interesting experience. And yeah, so we gave
Yeah.
credit where credit is due. And Six is here, I guess. Somebody's saying
Yep.
hello to her.
Hey,
Yep.
Six.
Hello, Six.
Yeah.
Hey, Six,
So,
how's
yeah,
it going?
You know, as far as Spider-Noir, I don't want to tell people not to watch it. There's some enjoyable stuff here. I think Nick Cage is fun in the role. He's too old for it. I mean, even if you just look at just the who the character should be in their age, given that he was supposedly serving in the military during World War One, and you know, it's like, but he, well, okay. He wouldn't be 60 something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's supposed
this
to be a
point.
little bit. Is he supposed to be like a little bit older character? But you're saying maybe like 40s, 50s, probably.
Well, yeah.
would be.
Well, if you, I mean, you know, most people who served in the military in that time,
Yeah.
in fact, you were pushed out of active service in the military when you were like 30 back
Yeah.
in those days, right? So he would have had to have been 20, 25, right? And so we're talking about that, and then, you know, to the era of prohibition, you're talking about, you're adding 10 12 years on top, like, so he's going to be in his 40s, right? He's going to be in his 40s at most. And here, you know, you've got him in his 60s. And honestly, you know, Nick Cage, I love him. I think he's a lot of fun as an actor. Yeah, he's made a lot of really crazy projects, but I still enjoy him.
Yeah.
But he's lived, you know, pretty rough life, I feel like, and it kind of shows. He does, and there's some of the filming, I think it's even worse in the black and white version. He does not. He looks a lot older, feels a lot older, I think, than the character should. But I think he does a good job in the role, despite that.
Yeah, he does look older in the black and white version because the lighting wasn't set for black and white, and they were doing a lot of lighting to hide him. I will say, I didn't do any spoilers. There's a few surprises to be had, and at least the series actually has a conclusion. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It's a complete story, but I just felt the overall plot was just one of those, oh man, this again. I'm so tired. Like, I'm not going to say it's a satisfying conclusion, but the show does end. And, you know, when you get to that point, you may or may not feel like the juice was worth the squeeze.
Do we get any other, you know, without major spoilers, like any other Marvel alt characters in this
No.
8 hours?
No.
No.
Well,
Okay.
kind of one is mentioned, and I don't want to say it, but it's
Yeah.
yeah.
We don't get
there's
like a Daredevil or something, or
no. There's no other major characters. There's some alt Spider-Man villains.
Yeah,
You do see here.
Flint Marko.
There's you see some of those, and there's a few of them, and there's even there's one early on that meets a quick end, but it's enough to raise questions, right? So it's I don't know. There's things that I enjoyed.
Stuff, so.
Yeah, there's some things that I enjoyed with you know, some of the writing. Other times the writing is not brilliant. It doesn't work nearly as well. It's a mixed bag. I have not finished it. It's just finished it. Like I said, I'm on episode 4, but I am going to finish it out. I'm going to finish watching, see where it goes. But it's, you know, it's not a you know, it's not a home run.
It's not like Daredevil season 1 where you're watching it
a-
and you're like, this is amazing. I can't turn it off.
It's a line drive,
Yeah.
right?
And
It's not a home run.
there's one thing, I'm not going to say it, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's the equivalent of the Obi-Wan trench coat thing and the Obi-Wan show.
Oh,
And you will know it when you see it, and you'll just go, oh God. Like,
Ouch.
yeah. So look out for the trench coat. It's near the end. And you know, so you've all watched like at least the first 2, right? So
I've watched the first 2, yeah.
yeah. So when he's in the, did you get the part where he's in the car talking to Brendan Gleeson, and essentially he's admitting that he's Ben Reilly without admitting? And I'm like, really? You're going to do this kind of dumb thing? He's in his Spider-Noir costume. He's like, I don't care what you do, but stay away from Ben Riley. It was like, oh, you must be, and his secretary. Oh, you must be Ben Riley. Like, just like, and there's a moment, I think it's episode 7 or 8, where you'll see the trench coat and you'll know. And I'm not going to give it away, but you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, I get it. And the thing is that I understand that they want to be like inclusive with all their diversity, but if this was a movie, let's say about a neighborhood that was primarily had black people living in it, and the neighborhood, and they're doing a movie about that and whatever period piece, but in the whole neighborhood you have like a bunch of white people and Asian people and Latinos and Latinas like that are plump and whatever, that wouldn't make any sense there either. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
have to do something that's right for whatever the period piece is. And like I said, they had an option here to be diverse, because I think that as a lounge singer, I think that the femme fatale lounge singer could have been a black woman singing at a jazz club. I 100% think that that would have actually been more period accurate. But the one thing that they could have done that actually does feel right for the period, they just didn't even bother.
Yeah, I would say if you really feel that strongly about being that diverse, then don't do period pieces, because, that's not going to be your wheelhouse.
Which is also fine. So don't do it. I don't have any issue. Don't
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, I totally agree.
And wow, this comic book took off. Spider-Man Noir from February 2009 was worth about $10 in the beginning of 2023. It skyrocketed up to, according to my comic book program, $350. And I don't own it, unfortunately. I was just checking my database. But
I don't see it hanging out. I don't see it staying up there.
it's going to go back down.
Yeah,
that's when Inhumans came out. We were all joking, like, if you got them, the books went way up in value. We're like, sell now. So, the Eternals, excuse me, the Eternals. So, sell those books right now, because they plummeted. Whenever anything that gets made into a movie in Marvel, used to just skyrocket in value if it was a movie character, like Rocket Raccoon, that appearance in Incredible Hulk. That was just in the dollar bin for many years. Now that's a valuable comic, but.
Yeah, I will say his wife, which they only showed in flashbacks, was very attractive. Like, maybe more of those kind. It just gets a little tiresome. Like, I get to see regular looking people all the time in my regular life. I want to see good looking people, men and women alike, when I turn on the screen.
Six says that she's 87% sure that Price is a black woman. Well, you got me.
Aren't
you only half black though? You're also half Latino or something. Yeah,
half puppet. No, he's half puppet.
Oh, yeah, orange. He would be orange. Yeah.
There's a lot of a lot of yarn in his DNA.
He tells a good yarn, spins a good yarn too. Yeah.
I shouldn't say something. I was thinking of saying it, but I shouldn't say it.
Oh, now you have to say it though. Every time you bring it, now you got to tell us.
Years ago, I worked at some office, and there was I don't know if I was interviewing like an intern or something, and whoever this lady was, I was pretty young myself. Whoever this young lady came, she was like a college student or whatever she was. She was completely clueless. So I think that I first of all talked to her on the phone, and then she came by this office or whatever it is, and I talked to her. And then when I spoke with her, she said like, "Oh, I'm so surprised that you're white. Based on like how deep your voice was, I was sure you'd be black." And I just thought that was such a weird comment. Like, nobody before or after has ever said that.
Your voice isn't particularly deep either. Like,
right. I don't know. I don't think it sounds like that at all. Like, she's the only person in the history of humanity that thought that, but she 100% believed it. And it was such a strange thing for her to say.
Did you interview a lot of people for jobs?
I've interviewed people for jobs. I haven't done that in recent times, but years ago, I did. There was a certain point that I, from time to time, would.
I've had a couple of jobs where I was in charge of hiring or part of a team that was, and we did lots of interviews. And what you were saying just made me remember this. It's funny. So we always ask the question, what do you think is your biggest flaw? Like, what is your biggest liability as an employee? And 99% of the time, we got the exact same answer, to the point where we would automatically, what do you call it? We would disqualify them. And the number
You
one,
say I'm too detail oriented.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
too
you're
much of a
trained.
perfectionist. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm too
exactly.
perfectionist.
This
I
is what
work
you're
too hard.
trained. You're trained to do that in school. That's what they teach you. Like
Oh.
whenever someone asks what your weakness is, you turn it into a positive. And so,
Yeah.
that is one of the ones. In fact, they use as an example in classes like that. They tell people, they're like, well, so you can say things like, well, I'm too much of a perfectionist, or I'm too interested in details, or oh, I care too much. Right? Those are the ones that, that's they don't have an answer for you. They're using the answer that they were taught to give in their mock interview classes.
Yeah.
Not
So
actually.
then we asked, what's your second biggest? What's your second biggest liability?
Well, that actually is a problem, because we had an office manager like that at our business, and we loved her to death, and she was like too detail oriented. So like, I put some of our tools on Amazon and eBay to sell, and I'm got everything computerized, but she would print like 40 pages for every like eBay order. I'm exaggerating, but like to have all the paperwork and I'm like, but it's all online. We don't, like, the whole idea is we don't need when we sell the tool, you don't need to print like 40 pages. So I still have we part of the business we sold. I still have like file cabinets filled. I got to go through and like wreck all the shred all these old orders. I'm looking at him like, oh my god, she just printed everything, and
what's
she's
your
so
biggest
detail
flaw?
oriented. It was too. It slowed the business down.
Yeah, I use thousands of dollars in printer paper. That's my biggest flaw. See, that's what it really is. And perfectionist people are never finished, and they don't finish on time, and they're never ready to let it go and declare it done. And that can be a huge problem. But yeah, I would love to hear that. I spend about $10,000 a month on printer paper. That's my liability.
I once, I don't know why I thought of this. You were saying about interviews, but I remember once in an interview that like I was an idiot in an interview. I went to this place, some company, and I guess there was a woman who was hiring somebody to be her, like, number 2 or whatever, like assistant in some department. I don't even remember exactly all the details. And it seemed like I was doing pretty well. I came, I dressed, I was still rather youthful, so I looked decent, put on like a nice suit, and I was confident, and I sat and I talked, and like everything was going pretty well. And then there was something that, like, she asked me one of these kind of softball questions, and she's like, why did you want to work at this company or whatever it is? And I said, I see the potential here. I see what this company does. This is a fantastic place for me to be. I really see myself like growing, really taking everything to the next level, really growing my career here. And then she said something, and she seemed unhappy. And she's like, I don't understand why. You'd be working for me. If you grow, that means you'd be replacing me. So I said, no, it's fine. I don't want to grow. And she's like, I saw her face, and that was the end of the interview. Like, I tried to switch it. I said, me have grown? The opposite.
Me
I
grow? What
to,
do you mean?
That's awesome. I just want to stagnate.
The truth is that you did not want to work for that person.
No, I didn't want to work.
If that's the kind of response that they have, is that they get somebody who has a growth mindset, and they're like, well, but if you grow, then you're not going to be my subordinate anymore. That you did not want to work for that person anyway. Trust me.
No.
Trust me.
You're right. Because
but I did try to do the reverse, because I wanted the job. I mean, I was interviewing and I wanted the job. So I'm like, no. So quickly I flip-flopped. Like, there's never been a quicker flip-flop than me saying, no, I don't want to grow. Like, no way. Like,
what me grow? What?
But come on, that was like a softball thing. Of course you say I'm looking to grow. What else are you gonna fucking say in an interview,
Right?
Oh, I have some breaking news real quick.
What's the breaking news?
Mandalorian and Grogu are no longer number 1 at the box office, and we haven't even really entered the weekend
yet.
It's
Obsession.
Yep, we saw that. Yeah, Obsession is outselling it already.
Yeah.
And I think Backrooms is also going to be looking. It's going to finish the weekend at number 3.
I mean,
Very likely.
very likely, yeah.
An obsession movie. What a story that is. I mean, that's incredible. A movie with that small of a budget is just taking the world by storm. And horror too is just such a genre. You can't. It always seems like it survives. All the ups and downs the other genres kind of.
Well, they do, because it's young people always love horror. It never gets old. The budgets are low, but I mean, I don't think we've seen anything like this since Paranormal, which did something like 250 times its budget.
Yeah, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, although not a horror story, but I remember that one was a movie that ended up hitting over $200 million on, but took forever to get there. But, it kept building and building. And that's part of the problem today, too. They don't give movies a chance. Typically, don't get a chance to grow because they're in and out so quickly. The window is so short. Back in the day, like Star Wars was, well, of course, it was such a massive hit, but it was, it wasn't released at 4,000 theaters at one time. It had to grow. And it stayed in the movie theaters for, about a year, too. So, the movies are in and out so quick now.
Yeah,
Six
the top.
says,
Okay.
sorry, Six says Price and I are going to see Backrooms together. I offered. I told Six that I would be happy to go with her to see that. The only problem is I don't know what Six looks like. Six doesn't know what I look like. We're both anonymous, and I'm not sure how that would work.
You know what you look like? Just bring the puppet with you, just on your hand, and then walk around with the puppet. And then
She would have to then, like, she doesn't have a puppet. What would she do?
Well,
so
she just goes to the guy with the puppet and says,
bring her
"Hi, I'm
avatar."
Six." Yeah.
which is now an emoji on my channel.
Yeah.
Thanks to all the
what if she
memberships
sees
we
me with
bought.
a puppet and she's like, I don't want to talk to that guy? Like,
Well,
screw
then
that
she
guy.
won't. Then you'll feel like you got stood up. But only one of you needs to find the other. It doesn't have to be both. So,
But for the record, I would be very happy to see that movie with her, but I don't see how we could make that work.
So I have a list of the top 5 movies as a percentage of their budget. The top most profitable movies of all time. Number 1 is Paranormal Activity at 645,800%.
That's because the original Paranormal Activity was made for $15K.
Yeah.
But you know what? I
That's
can't
all.
argue. I can't argue with their success, but fuck them, because I think it's a shitty, stinky bullshit way to make money. It's a cheat code. It fucking sucks. I don't like any of that shit. But sorry, go on.
Okay, Tarnation, which I've never actually heard of, but it's a documentary about growing up with a schizophrenic mother. It made 266,000%. And then 3, 4, and 5 are much more. They're like 22,000. It's Mad Max, Super Size Me, and the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I was going to say Blair Witch is definitely in there. Another one that did really well that was sort of an indie that was made on a smaller budget was Napoleon Dynamite. That was one that also performed really well.
But that actually had merit. That it had its own quirky thing. I mean,
Vote for Pedro.
I'd say
Yeah,
Mad
that's
Max
what I'm
has
going
merit,
for.
man. That movie is awesome.
Road Warrior was better, but Mad Max is
Yeah.
You wouldn't get Road Warrior without Mad Max.
Yeah, it was. I just found all my Napoleon Dynamite figures. I was going through my collection. I didn't realize that. Like sometimes it's horrible to say, but I don't know what I've got. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I have all the Napoleon Dynamite figures. These are awesome. He's got one of them. He's got the tether ball. Oh, that's so cool.
We've seen your basement and your office. Of course, nobody knows everything you've got, dude. It's like it's like a time machine of hoarders.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, these are cool. I'm glad I bought these. I was smart to buy these. Yeah. They're not worth anything, but they're awesome.
I've never seen Napoleon Dynamite. Am I missing out?
Yeah,
it's worth a watch.
It's worth a watch. I mean, it's
a quirky. It's a quirky comedy, but it's worth a watch. It's kind of fun.
They brought it up in the movie Dogma. One of the angels, I think it was Matt Damon, saying that was the greatest movie of all time or something. He's like, hey, I'm still waiting. It's still coming. So I thought about it. Maybe I'll check it out.
Like I said, it's a nice effort for a low budget indie, and it has kind of a cult status to it. And at least it wasn't something like I've seen 50 movies like it before. It kind of did its own thing. It had its own unique vibe. Some people connected to it more, some people less, but at least I respect the effort that was made there. And I don't, it's not like that whatever your Paranormal Activity, which I think is just a piece of shit. It
Yeah.
bothers me that movie succeeded, quite honestly. But go on, what else is on the list?
Well, I was just gonna say with Napoleon Dynamite, you're not in for a 3-hour slog. It's a 95-minute. It's very light comedy. It's very, very quirky and strange, but I think that's what gives it so much. I think that's why people love it so much. Is that it is so? It's this underdog story, right? And it's very strange. But there's a reason it became such a cultural touchstone when it came out in the early 2000s.
I've seen all the Robot Chicken skits of it though, so I feel like I wouldn't be going in cold. So we also, let's see, Mad Max, Blair Witch. We have Halloween, 1978.
Halloween 1978, I think is great, and they did a fantastic job with that budget. Blair Witch, I think, is another piece of shit, personally. But go on.
Oh, here's one: Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That one's a classic, but Blair Witch, piece of shit. Paranormal Activity, piece of shit.
And Texas Chainsaw, the nightmares watching that movie. I remember going to a friend's house. Oh God, that's a scary ass movie.
Yeah, this movie only qualifies because it's the most profitable movie of all time. So, Gone with the Wind. When adjusted for inflation, it is by far the most successful movie ever made.
Yeah, but how does that account in terms of what it costs to make? You're saying, it is the number one of all time, but isn't in Star Wars is 2 or 3 or something for inflation?
Well, Gone with the Wind made over 100 times its budget, and so did American Graffiti. I'm sure Star Wars did as well. I was doing an order: Friday the 13th, 1980. Most of these are horror movies, and here we go: Napoleon Dynamite, Paranormal Activity. Once 2007, never heard of it. Rocky, actually.
Rocky was one that made a ton of money, and Rocky deserved it.
Yeah,
Rocky
225 times the budget.
Yeah, if you're talking about the budget for Gone with the Wind, it was around, the total spend on that was around $4.25 million.
That was an expensive movie back then,
which today would be about $85 to $90 million picture, which is positively moderate spend for a movie today, especially a big epic. So it's
Gone with the Wind was a huge production back then. Of course, things are a lot cheaper back then.
Yeah, it was 1930s. Yeah,
1930s. Yeah, and the Depression. But that was an epic. That epic movie, epic production. Yeah,
its adjusted gross is $4.2 billion.
Everyone in the U.S. saw it 3 times or something, right? Plus that account. I think that also takes into account the re-releases too.
That too, but that movie was just. It was different then. You didn't have a million movies, and you didn't have something that they did on such a grand scale. But there was nothing bigger than Gone with the Wind for many years. And the funniest thing is that the same, I think, is it Victor Fleming that is supposedly the director of both The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind. Am I right?
Yeah.
Although back in those days, I think that the director. It was kind of like James Gunn when Greg Gillespie. I think that back in those days, the producer would heavily weigh in on what happens in the movie. But still, Victor Fleming being tied to both of those movies that came around at the same time, Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, what a great track record, to even be involved in that.
Yeah, that's like the John Williams of directors. That's the A-list of A-lists. I don't know offhand anything else he's made. Not that he would have to, but
you don't need. That's a mic drop. What else do you need to do?
That's what Ridley Scott should have done after Blade Runner.
Basically, you're at a cocktail party, you ask, "Oh, what did you do?" "Oh, I directed Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz." That's it. You don't need any more credentials than that.
Yeah, it's like I'm looking at the top 10 here. We got Gone with for inflation, Star Wars, Sound of Music, E.T., 5 Titanic, 6 Ten Commandments, 7 Jaws, 8 Dr. Zhivago, 9 The Exorcist, 10 Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, the good one, not the Ziegler one. 11 is The Force Awakens, 12, 101 Dalmatians. 13 is Empire Strikes Back. 14 is Ben-Hur, and 15 is Avatar. It's a
16
top
Avengers Endgame, 17 Return of the Jedi, Jurassic Park, The Phantom Menace, The Lion King, The Sting, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The only one that really sticks out like a sore thumb is The Force Awakens. But truth be told, and I always say this, if episode 7 of Star Wars was Yoda sitting on a toilet for 2 hours, lecturing, a bunch of Padawans, that movie probably still would have cracked $1 billion because people were so excited to see that movie. And I was there, opening night, Force Awakens. The excitement was through the roof. There's a Star Wars movie. Nobody gives a fuck about anything. Like, everybody is there. And that's why...
Spare one square? You can't.
Did you know Victor Fleming made 3 other bangers? He did Captain's Courageous, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the original, and Joan of Arc.
I like that one, yeah.
Yeah, and Joan of Arc, the 48 version. That guy's like 5-0.
Goated.
Right. That guy is like the best. That's what I was trying to tell you. So he's great. I recently, you're not going to believe this. I recently watched the 10 Commandments, and I think there was a holiday or something, and it was on TV, and somebody put it on, and I ended up sitting and watching it. You know what? It is a nice production. I know that it's dated and all that stuff, but I couldn't help but still kind of liking what I saw. I know it's like dated, but what can I do?
No, it's phenomenal, man. The movie has heart. It's got real gravitas and emotion to it, man.
And incredible actors. Charlton Heston and Yul Brynner in the leads. You've got Edward G. Robinson in there. Vincent Price plays a role.
Like Spartacus 2, all those old movies are just absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? They look better than movies do now when you look at the color and the cinematography. Like even Wizard of Oz, man, it looks gorgeous.
Really, from the top, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, really, only The Force Awakens in 11th place is like the turd in the punch bowl. But they only got there through deception, meaning it doesn't stand on its own 2 feet. If it's not a Star Wars movie, if it's just like girl boss woman in space. That thing is not cracking like the top 1,000. You know what I mean?
Girl boss woman.
But you know what I'm trying to say.
But that's funny, man.
But if it wasn't called Star Wars, this would not be in 11th place. And this is also the problem. This is what gave Kathleen Kennedy so much power, because she, for a long time, was walking around for a number of years like, look, I brought in over $2 billion. It's in 11th place. Everybody knows, how great I am. And everybody was like, Kathy, you're so great. But, come on. They didn't know that any movie that's called Star Wars is going to make that money?
Oh, yeah. It was always going to make an absolute ton of money, especially given that now this was the first movie that was produced by someone besides George Lucas. It was made by a studio that at the time was absolutely on fire at the box office with the Marvel MCU films that were just hitting just one after another, getting rave reviews. People were very excited that now, we are going to get the Marvelized MCU version now of Star Wars, and it's going to be this huge cultural touchstone again. They were all wrong. But that's what they thought when they went to go see the movie.
We're going to make a theme park on it, and no one's going to care about the old Star Wars that the great George Lucas made, and we're going to have all our new characters in this theme park, and everyone's going to love it. Yeah.
Another one that I think is kind of overrated in 31st place is Black Panther. To be fair, I didn't hate Black Panther, but do I think it's like a top 31 whatever movie? No. I just thought it was like an okay MCU movie. It's not the worst I've seen. It's not the best I've seen. It's somewhere in the middle. But I think also they learned all the wrong lessons from it. Because
they did. Yes, they did.
Because if nothing else, they took a character which existed, which they didn't have to do any swapping or anything, and instead of saying, "Okay, well, this worked, that's nice," they're like, "What if we did everything like this? What if we, guilt trip people into watching movies and all this weird shit that they did later?" It taught them all the wrong lessons, even though the movie itself didn't, particularly bother me. But I think that they much like with Thor Ragnarok, they learned the wrong lessons. Let me see what else is like sticks out like a sore thumb here.
Yeah, well, because they didn't do the Kirby Black Panther, they did the Christopher Priest
Yeah.
Black Panther, which I did enjoy. The comics, I loved reading those comics that they're based on, but I always despised that Black Panther. I despise that
Yeah.
Black Panther movie,
And
especially the third act. He's not even the
anytime
hero
they,
in it. He's like the bad guy. You're rooting
yeah,
against him.
anytime they get a diverse movie, critics always rave, but anytime they get one that's actually doing financially well, it's like the second coming. They just can't stop. Like, so Black Panther, it was a solid Marvel entry, in there in the middle. The best Black Panther movie is still Civil War, but
Yeah.
they made it sound like it was the greatest movie since Gone with the Wind, man. And that just wasn't the case.
Well,
By the way, at number
Academy Award?
44, I want to say at number 44 we have The Last Jedi, and again, there's some deception there as well, because this was the movie that they explained that Luke Skywalker was making his return. The Force Awakens ended where you see Luke and you understand that the next movie now Luke is supposedly front and center, and
Yeah.
that is the reason why people went to see it. It also had significantly significant drops from weekend to weekend. It was
Yes.
clearly a diminishing return, and the repeat viewings weren't there, which is why it didn't make it made maybe 60% of what the Force Awakens made, because
Yeah.
people just didn't want to. Who wants to go see this? It's not the kind of movie you want to watch 5 times. The first one, even people that didn't like it, they wanted to see Luke again. They wanted to see him at the end. Even I went a few times to see The Force Awakens because, it was so important to me. But The Last Jedi, that was it. I'm not going to go see it a million times,
I had to
So-
see
Yeah,
it
the
back
Force-
to back because I got tickets for the midnight show and then for my family at 8. I'm like, oh, I gotta go see this again. Oh,
Oh,
God,
God.
no.
Oh.
The Force Awakens had a 4.2x multiplier from opening weekend to total gross. The Last Jedi was only a 2.7, which is like it's one of the lowest Star Wars movie multipliers ever. So it's
You're
really
right.
front-loaded.
And I want to share I want to share a confession with you. I just think American Graffiti is okay. Some people live by this movie. They think it's the best thing that ever happened. It's all right. I don't know. I don't love it as much as other people do. I understand that perhaps it showed that George Lucas has a certain vision, and he could take something that wasn't high budget and make it sort of a interesting movie for whatever it was. But quite honestly, doesn't really do much for me. I've seen it a few times over the years. It's not one it's not one that I ever owned on DVD or had on VHS. It's not one that I'm like, I got to pop in American Graffiti. It's like I really don't give a shit about American Graffiti, if we're honest.
It's a gearhead movie for car lovers, and it's basically Happy Days the movie, and it had its charm. Like, guys who love cars and race cars would see that multiple times, but
Yep.
it's just kind of
It doesn't even have the
just
Fonz.
kinda
It's like
there.
Happy Days without the Fonz.
Fonz. Well, you could make a case that isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Chuck
I like the
Cunningham's in
Fonz.
this one.
I like the Fonz. I'm not gonna no Fonz
Hey.
slander on this stream.
Yeah, but I like OG Fonz, not what he turned into.
Okay, fair enough. In the earlier seasons, the Fonz was more the Fonz. Over time, it became Marty kind of like a caricature of himself. But that's what happens when your show is on the air for 70 years and you become like
Oh, they Flanderized him. That's probably the first example of Flanderization.
And you jump the shark.
Yeah, they jumped the shark and they made him kind of like a loser. But whatever, it's fine. Rogue One at 62. Again, off the heels of Force Awakens. Those were the first 3 movies after Disney bought them. And they all happened within the course of a few years when
Yep.
seemingly the brand was flying high. The Force Awakens came out first, and that one, like I said, no matter what would have been in that movie, it would have made probably the same amount at the box office. Rogue One made some money because it wasn't offensively bad. I still think that without the third act, which was reshot and redone to save the movie, if the movie was the way it initially was, especially how the first 2 acts are, I don't think that would have been a very good movie. But somehow the fan goodwill was still there. Though it's interesting that The Last Jedi is that's it. That's where it all
That's where it
Yeah.
fell apart. That's
Oh,
exactly where it fell apart. When they destroyed the legacy character of Luke Skywalker. People were pissed about Han Solo, but, it was like, okay, we get it. I mean, most, Star Wars fans we knew,
He wanted out.
Harrison Ford
Right.
wanted out.
Wanted to kill off Han Solo since
He wanted
before
him dead
Return
in
of the
Empire.
Jedi.
Yeah, he wanted him dead in
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
And-
He didn't want to come back. So yeah, we're like, okay, it's fine. I didn't like it, but it's fine. But then there were plenty of other complaints about Force Awakens remake of New Hope and lots of
I
stuff.
never
But
liked.
anyway,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
in the movie theater with my
And-
buddy. I'm like, didn't we see this movie before? I'm like, this
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
I was. So
when
angry
I
at
talked
that
to a
movie.
friend, who was really trying to defend the movie. I'm like, okay, so I've got a movie that starts out where you've got a droid who has been dropped off on a desert planet, who has the secret that everyone's looking for, and he's found by this person in the desert who's an orphan.
Yeah.
And then they come after him and they manage to escape, and it's like, and I guess I went through it with, and then there's a trench run to destroy the giant death machine, and he was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, now you get it. Stop trying to tell me that I'm crazy for saying this was just a remake of Star Wars.
And remember, Price, all these three movies, they had gargantuan budgets compared
Monstrous.
to all the other movies on this list.
Well, first of all, and this is why I wanted to focus on this one, in 88th place, you have The Rise of Skywalker. Now, The Rise of Skywalker actually cost, they didn't admit it till years later. I believe that it cost them like 400 and something million to produce with all their
Wow.
stupid reshoots. And then they spilled more like on marketing. That movie needed to make, if I'm not mistaken, like $1.25 billion at the box office to break even. I don't think it did. And I think that it actually lost
It
money.
lost money, yeah. And Last Jedi barely broke even. And they didn't admit it. It's just the UK tax filings came out, and they were amortizing it across years. So when they finally finished getting all of the tax documents, they had the proof that they needed. But I don't think Disney ever admitted that.
Okay. The Rise of
Documents show that that it cost, essentially, the updated gross spend was $593.7 million.
Yes.
Oh my
and they
God.
got like
So
a
that piece of
103
garbage?
million tax reimbursement, so it quote unquote only cost them 489 million just
Yeah.
for the production budget, and
That's
and
the- yeah.
throw in a few hundred million for that, for that marketing budget. If this movie didn't make like $1.25 billion at the box office, it's a flop, and it didn't make that. It made like a bit over $1 billion or something. So
Yeah.
nope. It didn't make its money back. It didn't.
I-
It was a flop that they hid it. They hid it from the public because they didn't want people to say it was a flop. And until today, none of these trades, none of these jerk-offs admit that this thing was a flop.
Yeah,
Have
and
you guys
remember-
on the panel seen it? Anyone seen it more than once? I've only seen it once that night in the movie
I've
theater
seen
and
it.
never
I've seen
again.
it twice. Yeah, I saw
it
it
once.
when it came out. When it was available to stream on Disney Plus or whatever, I watched it then. I did not go to the theaters to see it. I did not care about going to the theater to see it. After Last Jedi, I was not going to go to
Yeah.
the theater to see it, and they did not deserve my money. And so I did watch it then, and then eventually my son asked about it. He was like, "Hey, that came out. Would you want to watch it?" I'm like, "We can, if you want to watch it, we can watch it. It's fine." And so we sat down, we watched it, and he was like,
What did he think?
"That's how they ended the story."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yep, that's how they
Yeah.
ended the story." He's like, "But what? She was. Wait, why did he come back? Like, I thought he was dead." Yep. Somehow Palpatine returned. We don't know how. Somehow. Well, what happened with that guy who was in the last movie, the bald guy that they cut in half? Nothing. We don't know. He was a clone or
Mr.
something.
Bach.
He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, I don't, well, so, okay, so what was Finn trying to tell her? What was he trying to tell her?
Oh,
We
that
don't
he
know.
could use, no, that he could use the Force.
But
Remember-
that's
Right. You don't get it. in the
Before I
movie.
close this
We
window,
read
I want
into
to just give a shout out here that AI, like Google's AI, when they want to show you an example for how you can learn how Disney really handled the budget, they recommend you watch Robot
There you go.
Head's explanation.
Oh,
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
I think that's
Oh.
pretty cool. It
well,
just goes to
I
show
will
you
say
that-
this. They know
Yeah.
who you are, Price, and they know
Yeah.
what channels you watch. and they connect it. So it probably recommended that because it knows that that's what you would want to watch.
Maybe you're right.
Remember,
Maybe you're right.
The next
I'll
time
give you
you're
that.
on
You could be right.
The next time you're on Mr. Brown's, remember that your UK buddies, they paid for that $100 million came out of their pocket.
Their tax dollars, yeah.
Well, I want to thank Round. Round personally made Rise of Skywalker.
Thanks, Mega Geek, for kicking in to make the Rise of Skywalker.
And then
Rise of Soywalker.
Rise of Palpatine.
Yeah.
Camille Henke sent a $1.99 super chat here, writing, "Rey is not compelling." I tend to agree with you. I don't think she's compelling at all.
I think the first 20 minutes of her were actually I loved her introduction, but the moment Finn hit the planet, it all
I agree with
shit. Yeah.
Well, you know why they had to name her at the end? She had to claim the name Skywalker, right?
Ray of Light? Is that what it means?
Well, no, she had to claim the name Skywalker because that would make her initials Ray S. If she had used the name Palpatine, her initials would have been Ray P, and it wouldn't have gone over very well.
Oh,
I call it a rise of identity theft anyway, because basically, and people go, Leia gave her permission to take the name. Well, it's still not her name.
Not how it works.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the video where in the theater reaction at the end of Rise of Skywalker and people are like yelling at Rey and like, what happened? You took the name. No, this can't happen. People are just bullshit.
Yeah, I still want to know how Luke's lightsaber got into the little footlocker of weirdo, like not Yoda, brown, diverse Yoda.
The girl with the big eyeballs or whatever.
Yeah, the lightsaber is in the middle of the
mystery box.
Giant Bespin. Yeah. There's no way they recovered that.
Yeah, mystery box for another time, I guess. Yeah, never to be explained. Yeah, but I'll never watch that movie again, though. So I guess.
It would be funny if somebody did a little AI movie following the lightsaber from the moment his hand gets cut off. Yeah. And they follow it down. And it goes into the gas giant, the atmosphere, and then some weird truck driver thing, I don't know, gets scooped up by something.
Like robot chicken or something.
And then put in the flea market and gone to eBay.
It's a gas giant, but the core is made up of all of the trash that they've been throwing away for the last 40 years. They just chuck all their trash out the tubes at the bottom. God. And so it now has a massive core built up of coffee grounds and styrofoam containers.
Well, speaking of hands getting cut off, did you guys see the clip that the woman who's a cop says, "I'm giving you a citation for driving"?
Oh,
I saw you holding the phone in your right hand.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that thing's gone mega viral.
So she's like, I don't think you can be sure about that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Would you like to see my? Yeah.
Would you like to see my missing hand? And
can you show that one, Bryce? It's really short.
What is it? Do you have a link for it?
Yeah, I'll get it. Just a second.
Yeah, he still wrote her the ticket.
He still wrote her the freaking ticket.
But it has been. I read into it a little bit more. It actually was dismissed in court.
It was dismissed, but the guy wrote the ticket. It's like, admit you're wrong. I mean, come on. She has no right hand. She's not holding the phone and driving. Although she's using her legs, I guess. I don't know, but I mean, that was like the best comeback ever. Like, really? And then the guy still gave her a ticket. It's like unbelievable. I usually love the cops, but you want to give him a benefit of the doubt. But
yeah, the Mega Geek is cool. He's not here, is he? I didn't see him in the chat.
No. But
we mentioned him, so Darren Mai was tossing some info.
Yeah, I like Mega Geek. I feel like it's been a while I haven't hung out with him.
He got an answer back from Netflix, by the way, about how they were streaming his movie. It looks like he got screwed over by the contract. The way it's written, she basically said that the way the contract's structured, even if your distributor only has like 6 months left, they can still license it out to somebody else for the full amount. So like they can't distribute it anymore to other distributors, but everybody they distributed it to still has it like for the full amount of time, which I think is, absolutely bonkers. But,
wow.
They've been doing contracts a lot longer than, the little guys who may not know Exactly. You know, you need a really high priced lawyer to go through all that language to figure out the weak spots where you could get screwed. All right, I DM that to you, Price.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me find it.
No, this is I saw it this morning, and then it started popping up on videos. It's gone super mega viral.
Everywhere now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at it.
I have to confess, I look at way too many cop body cam videos as it is, and I hate myself every time, but I still get sucked in.
Okay, let's see. Share. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hopefully the volume.
Fire away.
Clear.
Reason why you're being pulled over in the city of Lake Worth today. We're doing an operation for distracted driving, and you drove past me holding the phone with your right hand, manipulating that phone. I mean, I see the phone in your hand.
Not.
So you want to just call this a day?
I don't
or-
want to call it a day. You had a hand up manipulating
You just
the
said
phone.
my right hand.
Well, I thought I saw you with your right hand. You
so
had a
you
hand up.
didn't.
The right hand. I saw you
So you
manipulate
didn't.
with the right hand, perhaps not, right? But I saw
But you didn't see me with my right
Okay,
hand.
so are you saying
that you saw me with
I
my
know
right
what I
hand.
just said. I know what I just said. I'm asking you now. Did you yeah, or not have your phone on your hand?
I did not.
You did not have your phone in
I
your
did
hand.
not.
Hand to God, you didn't have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God.
The other hand to God, you didn't have your phone in your hand.
Yes, I do.
But wait, I
Like being pulled over in the city of Lake Worth today. We're doing an operation.
She gave him an out, and the cops still wouldn't back down.
That's when you just like she said, you just pack it in and walk off. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Yeah. I
love
thought I
her
saw
reaction.
something, but clearly I didn't see it. So
I love
Have
her
a great
reaction.
day,
You want to
man.
call it? You want to call it a day?
I love her attitude, though.
And then
She was
hand to God. Hand to God.
And to God, yeah. For lack of a
And
Like-
the thing is, yeah, she doesn't get. I mean, she's a little bitchy, but at the same time, like the guy's like, I saw you holding your phone in your right hand, and she's like, "Bam! Did you really?"
right.
And
Yeah.
and you know what? At that point, I think she's allowed to get a little bitchy. Okay,
Yeah,
I think she's
I
allowed
agree.
to be just a little
Right.
offended.
Yeah,
But,
she didn't get angry though. She was still
She didn't
cheerful
swear.
about it.
She didn't
She's
swear at
laughing.
him. She's
She's laughing
laughing.
there.
She's cracking up.
That's why we need robot umpires, and sometimes I don't know if we want RoboCops,
Yeah.
but at least RoboCop
Also-
would have seen the right thing, right?
Also, she
Right.
could play Spider-Noir secretary.
I hope she sets up a GoFundMe. Yeah, she's-
I'm sure she'll be fine. She doesn't need anything. They dropped the ticket and whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think that she seems more convincing as Spider-Noir's secretary.
Yeah, sure. Typing is pretty slow, but she's very efficient. Like,
yeah, Mark said, yeah, she still got the ticket and fought it.
Yeah, she went and the ticket was dismissed for lack of evidence.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's going to become a meme. Someone's going to take that footage, just like when they had the attack at the White House the other day. Like, what's going on? And that clip is ending up on
Did
top
you know-
of all the other things. Yep.
she's a fitness influencer, and you know what her name is? Slightly off balance. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
That's that's
Very
cute
cool.
though. I just like that's the kind of cop that give decent cops a bad name because they would just rather than admit they made a mistake, man, they just keep doubling down. You know what state this happened in? Take a guess.
Hmm.
is it
Was New
California?
York?
No. This is the state where
Florida.
Yep. All the crazy body cam footage comes from
I was gonna say
Florida.
it's got to be Florida or the Florida of the North, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hope
Which
the guy
frankly is
got,
more depressing than funny now.
yeah, I hope the sergeant, whoever, really ripped the guy a new one. Or can you imagine the guys at work the next day and the cops at the briefing? Like,
Oh.
you know, yeah. When someone shows that they don't have a right hand, don't write them a ticket for distracted driving.
You want to know who dismissed the ticket though? The deputy himself requested the dismissal.
Yeah. He's the
after
one. That's what I
writing the
said.
ticket
Yeah.
in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he came back after she requested the body cam footage. He came back and said, dismiss the ticket. and the reason listed on the dismissal is lack of evidence. Yeah,
because
He should have done that sooner. He kind of looks like an idiot.
yeah, he should never have written the ticket in the first place. He should have said, "Sorry, ma'am. Have a good day." I must have been mistaken. Have a good
Totally
day.
mishandled it. Yeah,
and she would have had a laugh. She would have posted something small on social media, laughing about how a cop thought she had a phone in her hand and she doesn't have a hand. It would have been over, right? But nope.
I've got to hand it to her. She handled that really well.
She did.
Yeah. Yep, and that's the first thing she did was when she requests body cam footage.
Well, that's why she got the body cam, because the guy wrote the ticket, right?
Yeah.
If she just been, dismissed or whatever, so she got because of that, we got that video. So on the one hand, I'm kind of glad that the cops, because you never would have seen that, right? That's one of those interactions you'd never see, would just disappear forever. But because he was such a jerk and actually wrote the ticket, then she was able to get the body cam footage. How was your day at work? What did you do today? Yeah, well, I gave a ticket to a person who didn't have a right hand for distracted driving.
Yeah, that was Palm Beach County too. Like, that's money.
Well, speaking of Palm Beach, I don't know if you saw this, but Jimmy Kimmel is basically saying, he started saying something that it's hard not to agree with Spencer Pratt, but the people shouldn't vote for him.
Huh.
It's so weird. Like, I don't understand how a guy that was supposed to tell jokes is so trying to be heavily involved in every political thing. First of all, there was some bakery that some lady made like cookies with Spencer Pratt on them, and then Jimmy Kimmel's like relative tried to get like the bakery shut down or something. I don't know, some weird shit. Am I wrong? Wasn't there something that with a bakery?
Yeah. But when you reach the point, this sounds like what what's her name beyond the trailer, the crazy blonde lady. She's
Grace
like
Randolph.
When Grace Randolph goes, the MCU, he's right, but that's totally offensive. Like, when you're right, and he's basically admitting he's wrong, but still do it. He's so ideologically captured that he can't even vote for the proper candidate. That's what's so fucked up about it.
Right.
So it's like a mess, but let's vote for the mayor who helped to make it a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I am so tired of hearing this guy, though. He's trying to get fired because if he just leaves, his show gets canceled. He's nothing. But if he gets fired, he gets to be a martyr, a defender of the left. Yeah. So I appreciate Disney sucking it up and holding on to him, because the last thing you want to do is make this guy a martyr. But it seems like he's doing everything in his power to get fired.
Well, he's not going to get a contract renewal. That's not happening. Yeah. He'll be dismissed.
But that's the proper way to do it. Hey, show's over. We're canceling. But if they fire him in the middle of his contract, then he's a super martyr.
But they gave him another year after that whole Charlie Kirk thing because they didn't want to, make it seem like they folded.
But only a year. Contract renewals are usually 3 to 5 years.
Right, but the fact that he even got a year, that they're paying him like $10 million a year is a disgrace.
Yeah, that was an anti-boycott measure. That was because they did. If you let it disappear, then. Everyone was going to say Donald Trump fired him. Donald Trump pressured the channel. Donald Trump. Blah, blah. I mean, they're going to say that in the end eventually, anyway. But that's not going to be nearly as much. They also they gave him that year extension to hold him on, thinking that they're going to have this massive blue wave that's going to happen later this year, and the both chambers are going to switch hands, and then they're going to be back in it, and. Maybe he'll be popular again, but that's not gonna.
Yeah, and they didn't want him to leave the same year Colbert did, but they did cut his budget significantly, and they cut the show down to only 4 days a week. So it wasn't even a full renewal. I like to think that he got a little less salary too, but.
Is he losing as much money as Colbert? I mean, who had 300, looked like 3,000 people to write 2 jokes a show?
Yeah, no, not quite. But they took his band away. So he no longer has a live music band. They went from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. And like I said, I don't know. They might have done reduced salary, but it was still losing tens of millions a year. So, I mean, there's no way that's a sustainable business. The shareholders shouldn't have stood for it even as long as they did.
So
Yeah, I mean,
basically, Kimmel is like, using his show as a platform to lecture people. So he's saying that
No question.
he's saying, "Oh, let's be honest, the city is a mess, but like you don't want to vote for this Spencer Pratt guy." And part of the narrative is like, if you're voting for him, it's the same thing as Trump. Here's another reality star. Blah 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 blah. But the thing is that I'm not saying I don't know if Spencer Pratt is good or not. I really don't. But I don't know if he would be worse than like what's already there. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to really work hard to not be better than the existing situation.
Yeah. Captain Cuba. Yeah. I don't think he'll take 10 trips to Cuba and Africa while the city burns down and he doesn't hire enough fire people or fill the city's reservoirs. I think it's impossible to be any worse than who they have now.
So is
Unless
Kimmel
you're naming
saying,
it the ramen.
so is he actually saying that we shouldn't trust the opinion of anyone who's in Hollywood or a reality star who's an actor? I guess maybe does that kind of circle back to maybe I shouldn't listen
he
to what he
excludes
says
himself.
too?
He excludes. But you know what's interesting that I see this headline here that CBS now says that it's going to turn a 15 million profit in late night after Byron Allen's time buy.
Yep. And Byron Allen has already come out publicly. He's been saying this on social media. He said this in an interview, basically like everyone's welcome. And we're not going to touch politics. This is about showing up and having a good laugh.
So is this is like a new variety show, or it's a
it's a show he's actually been doing for a while. I think it started as a podcast. Am I not wrong? I think it started as a podcast, and then he turned it into a syndicated show.
It started as a comedy club thing that they put online, and they've already made the money. It's not he's already paid them. CBS has already made the money. He bought the time from them, and then it's going to be like a Comics Last Stand thing.
Yeah, he's paying them for the time to show his show. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. And it's pretty. I've never heard of it, but it's a pretty popular show, I guess. And it's all stand up. It's basically stand up, or is it like a traditional late night sit down?
No. It's stand up. It's strictly stand-up. Yeah. And did you know Colbert's name is Colbert? He only started calling himself Colbert from the Comedy Central Colbert Report. Like
I knew that. I think people from back in the day, we knew that. Yeah. So it's going to call Comics Unleashed, and it'll just be a series of stand-up comedians from all backgrounds and varieties being funny as hell, and it'll focus on comedy.
You mean we get to laugh at late night now? Wow, that's a novel theme. I haven't been able to laugh at late night for years now. You mean they're going to tell jokes again?
Yeah.
Apparently, the way this deal works, like everybody doesn't lose money somehow. It was a white elephant that late night with Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, it was a money pit. And so it's there's this Comics Unleashed show, which is a late night. It says comedy panel show is how it's classified, but it has some stand up elements to it. But then it's also being followed up by another time slot being filled by the same media group from Byron Allen, which is a game show called Funny You Should Ask. So it's he basically bought 2 time slots from them for 2 shows that he produces as part of his media group. So
is it worth it for him though?
I'm sure.
I think it is. He's going to pull in the advertisers. And I might want to point out Byron Allen, very funny, diverse, and I've got no problem with that. Yeah, more power to him. We need more comedy for sure in the world.
Yeah,
just laugh and have a good time again. I mean, these shows became all political shows. If I wanted to watch Nightline with Ted Koppel, I'd watch Nightline with Ted Koppel, and at least he was semi-balanced back in the day. Not skewed one way, but at least they would have people of all viewpoints on. But when I put on late night, I just want to laugh and have fun and relax, and it's gone. The Orange Man Bad syndrome has just wrecked so many things, and people can't just see that yeah, not everything has to be about politics and through that prism. Yeah, I mean, it's important if it can be important to you, but there's a time and place for it, and it's just gone so far overboard. I mean, people going crazy over this reflecting pool if it's the wrong color or not. It's like at least he's trying to clean it up, and what's the worst that happens? In a few years, you have to repaint it again a different color if it doesn't turn out well. But I mean, people are losing their bleep over this stuff, and it's just frustrating. I mean,
Uh, Interesting that this guy, Scooter Braun. Now, I would never trust a man called Scooter. I'm not going to lie to
It's
you.
really hard to trust someone named
Really
Scooter.
hard
I have
to
to
trust.
admit.
He's dating Sydney Sweeney. That's her boyfriend.
Even harder to trust him. But I will say this is that between his $1 billion being called Scooter and dating Sydney Sweeney, he's saying on Spencer Pratt, he's speaking for a lot of people who are very frustrated. And that's interesting.
Mhm.
There was also another thing that I thought was interesting. Let's see. There was something else that he spoke about Taylor Swift. Oh, this is interesting. Now, I've mentioned this here before, and I'm no fan. I'm not going to say that I like Scooter Braun. What's his claim to fame that he discovered like Justin Bieber?
Yeah,
I
he's a
don't
music
give a shit
producer.
about
That's
that. You
it,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
but he was a
and
party. He
supposedly-
became a party planner in college.
yeah,
He
he's
started he really made it big doing that. All these big parties, and
Yeah.
one thing led to another. But yeah,
supposedly he's pretty skeezy. Like he's had a lot of
sometimes
lawsuits.
people that get ahead are I can't comment on him personally, but sometimes the good don't always get ahead in life, right?
Yeah. In any case, what I'll say is this: is that I've never thought anything positive about him, but I will say that when all that stuff happened with Taylor Swift, I was one of the people that said that everything that's happening with him is bullshit. Because what happened was is that Taylor Swift, she had this other label that they had to deal with her like for years, that they took her when she was an unknown and they made her a star. And when she signed, her father, who was bankrolling like her entire career, what happened was is that he brought his lawyers, they signed the agreement, they agreed to all the terms there, and they wanted the deal then because she was a nobody and nobody knew who she was, and she didn't have any hits or a career. So they signed with this label. It was called Big some I don't fucking know, a big not Big Machine. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck it was called. It was some other label. So they signed with them, and this label made Taylor Swift a star. So Taylor Swift, became she's making like hundreds of millions of dollars, and her contract with this label ended. So she got upset because they wanted to offer her a new deal, and as part of her, and she wanted her masters, like the master recordings. So they said they would make a deal with her that she'll sign for like another 5 albums, and every album that she releases, she'll gain the masters of the previous one. Like they'll gradually basically give her ownership of her masters, but they want to continue to work with her, and it'll be like a 5 album deal that at the end of it she gets everything. So
it sounds fair.
Sounds fair to me, but she got upset and she said, "How dare these chauvinistic men do this to me, like that they wouldn't let me have my catalog." It's like, bitch, nobody knew who you were. Nobody knew who you were. And she's like, they took advantage of a young woman. No, they didn't. It's not that she was some young woman they took advantage of. She came with her father and a team of lawyers. This was not a situation that somebody just came and took advantage of her. So I reject all of this. Now, what happened is that at the end, she went and she signed with the Intersto. It's a really long story, but she started a war with this guy, and he basically
With Braun.
no, Braun had nothing to do with it. Braun,
Oh,
this
no,
is the funny thing. Braun had nothing to do with this. This guy that I don't remember his name with the label, he had enough of Taylor Swift. So either he reached out to Braun, or I don't know how he ended up talking to Braun. And this Scooter Braun guy said, "Listen, why don't I buy this label from you? I'll buy it and we'll make it work. I'll buy this label from you." So he buys the label, and Taylor Swift then goes out and says, "Scooter Braun bought this label just to spite me." It's like, lady, he's not going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to just spite you. Like, at the end of the day, he bought it because he probably thought it was a good deal. They were her record label. I don't know what. So he thought maybe they could like reach an agreement or a deal. So she's like, no, I refuse to work with him. But not only that, she went online and started going to all of her like Swiffers, her followers, and telling them that like this guy is like the worst. So like they started like camping outside his home, sending him death threat, like all this kind of stuff, like him and his family, and like all this crazy shit. And at the end, what happened was that some bigger company came and said to Scooter Braun, this seems like a big headache here. Why don't we take that from you? We'll buy this from you. So he's like, sure, no problem. So he like sold it to them for even more money than he bought it. And he's like, good riddance. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. And she would continue to like whine and cry about like Scooter Braun all day. And at the end, what did she do? She went to like the people that bought her catalog from Scooter Braun, who bought it from the label, and she says, here's like $1 gazillion. Let me just buy my catalog. Which, by the way, if she would have told the first guy or Scooter Braun, probably could have worked that deal out with them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, she did at the end what she could have done from day one, but all along the way, she had to paint herself as a victim and do this whole whiny thing. And a lot of people are like, it's good that she's fighting for the little guy. She's not fighting for the little guy.
She's not the little guy. She was never the little guy.
She wasn't even the little guy when she was bankrolled by her father. And at the point that she's fighting with these labels and has like $500 million already in her bank account, she's not the little guy. She's just being greedy, and like, she could have worked out a deal with any of these people, but instead wanted to go and paint herself as the victim in public every 2 seconds.
Yeah. Did you know she actually paid $60 million more for the masters than the whole studio sold for originally?
I'm sure of it. She did everything wrong.
For $100 million. Yeah.
I'm sure of it. She did a bunch of stupid things, and a lot of people are like, well, she really taught them a lesson. Who? The one guy walked away with hundreds of millions. Scooter Braun walked away with more money than he invested. And maybe the final people, she paid them a ton of money and they took her money. It's like she is not the big winner that people want to present her as. And Scooter Braun here, who's always like, since that day, people that don't know the details always seem to think that this Scooter Braun guy, who may be the biggest asshole in the world, but in this specific case really was just doing business and didn't bother anybody. He, in this Hollywood article, clarifies what I've been saying for years. He says, I don't know Taylor Swift. I think I've met her 3 times in my life. I've never had a substantial conversation with her in my life. I one time got invited to a private party by her. She told me she had the utmost respect for me. I told her I had the most respect for her. You don't spend $300 million buying a label that she's on unless you're excited at the opportunity to work with her. I will never truly understand that situation to this day. I wish her nothing but the best. I learned a tremendous amount from it. The big misconception that we knew each other and we had this feud, people are shocked to find out that I legitimately don't know her and didn't have many interactions with her and never really knew her. And then, for her part, Swift wrote after the sale, at any time, the Big Machine, it was Big Machine, the label, has heard the word Scooter Braun escape my lips. It was when I was either crying or trying not to.
You know what happened, though, right? Like, why she didn't pay for him originally? She thought she could re-record the songs and make them satisfy her public. She thought she didn't have to buy them. Oh, I still own the rights to the music. I'll just re-record them all.
Yeah, wasn't she re-releasing all her albums?
Right. But her fans, it's not identical. It's not the same. It's not what they fell in love with. So her fans didn't really accept those. And that's
the new versions, the 2.0
versions. Is, you know what's funny though, is that only her fans could notice the difference because it's such a generic bubblegum piece of crap that she records that like if you play the new one and the old one, to me it sounds like the same garbage. I really feel like with the tools you have today, you can take that garbage, kind of like the replicator on Star Trek. You can just like replicate the garbage onto something else. I couldn't tell the difference. It sounded like the same crap in both recordings. I tried listening to them both. The only thing I'll say is that maybe there were a few of those songs that I could tell that like she seemed like younger in her voice. She's like talking about being a cheerleader or something. And then if she has to sing it like 10, 15 years later, you could tell she's like doesn't have the same childish vibe. So like a little bit, not too much. It's basically, aside from that little detail, it is the same garbage 100%, except for something in the voice. Like you can't have the exact same voice as you did when you were a kid. honestly, she thought she was
Price
doing
of
the big-
reason. Taylor Swift expert. Just kidding.
No, I can't tell the difference between her individual songs, much less recording of the same song.
She,
Well, you know what's
she has-
interesting?
Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say she had a really bad PR in the beginning of her career too. Remember all the boyfriends she'd break up and write the songs about him? She was a hated person for a while. And then she had that big PR push, and she was out on social media to try to reform her image. But for a long time, her name was mud. I mean, and then with the Scooter Braun stuff. I mean, you cut deals as an artist for promotions. So that yes, sometimes you don't own your masters, but that's part of the deal for the record company to promote you. You don't get to own your masters, or maybe she could have gotten a better deal, but maybe she would never become the star that she is. So it's really obnoxious how they treat it.
That's always how it works when you've got these smaller artists when they're coming up. They can't afford to own all of their own stuff. They cut these deals, say, okay, well, the studio holds this many rights and that many rights, whatever. The producers get these rights and whatever. And no, you don't own your whole catalog. You don't own every song you ever made. And then when you do get big, now you got to figure out exactly how all those rights work. But it's not, it is not a bizarre thing. It's not, oh, look, we found this innocent, silly young girl that we're going to take advantage of. No, they do that with everyone.
And she was a big deal from the start. I mean, people knew she was sought after, but she didn't go into this naively. This is not like the artists in the 50s and the 60s that got really taken advantage of in horrible situations where they didn't get their commissions. And she's a bazillionaire.
And remember, I like new wave and punk rock from last century. I like that too.
Yeah. Remember, Prof was right. They do that to everybody, but she's trying to make it, I'm just a young woman and the patriarchy is attacking me. It's like, no, they literally screw over everybody. It's what the music industry is famous for. Right? At least you got paid. That's the thing in the 50s and 60s. Those guys never even saw their money.
Yeah, they screwed them out of royalties. The Rolling Stones, even the Rolling Stones got screwed by their that manager, and then they found out, all these, residuals they weren't getting, and they're big acts here. So
we lost Price.
He'll be back. He went to go listen to Taylor Swift's new album, but I wish I was as impressed as Taylor Swift, but there's something about her that's always.
No, I can't even tell the difference between her and Katy Perry and Billie Eilish. They all sound like Lorde to me. It's just digitally processed garbage.
Lorde is the crappiest out of all that crap. Swiffers. I call them Swiffers, not Swifties.
Swiffer Wet Jet.
Bringing it back to Spider-Noir. I have an ear. I might not be a music producer, but I have an ear. I can hear when they're doing auto-tune. And they were doing auto-tune on all of those Torch songs that she was singing.
Oh, yeah.
Like everyone. And I was like, this is crap. Like they need they should have gotten a real lounge singer, Torch singer who could get up there and belt out those songs like someone who was a real performer back in those days, not someone who needed to be auto-tuned to, make it perfect in the scene.
I have a little bit of synesthesia, so I can always tell because when I'm hearing auto-tune, I get this metallic taste under my tongue. It's very unpleasant. I'm not full on tasting music, but music will sort of change the taste buds in my mouth. It's synesthesia is when your senses cross over a little bit, but auto-tune always tastes like metal. And that's why I can't stand it because, it's like I have pennies in my mouth and it's really irritating.
Yep, I've always been able to hear it, and even when it's just a tinge, just a little bit of it in there, I can feel the electronic nature of it being altered and how it's just too perfect, right?
Yeah.
Well, I want to quickly give these super chats some attention. So we have from Jason Webster from Australia. Breaking news: the Classification Rating Administration classifies Supergirl SHIT, stupefyingly hideous, inane tripe prior to domestic release. I believe that. And then the real head case for $1.99 says, hate anyone with Sydney Sweeney except for me.
Yeah, I felt bad. I know he likes her, so when I mentioned that, I was thinking, oh, I know. Sorry, head case, but we've got to spill the tea.
And wait, but before I forget, there was something. Oh, the auto tune. Listen, there's ways, that you could put auto tune on for like a very very low amount. Meaning you'll still not be perfect in your singing, but if it catches a note that like you went like off the rails and it wants to kind of curb it in a little, you have filters like that. And I think that if somebody, especially if in a live performance you have stuff like that, I don't think that that's the end of the world. But when you start taking somebody who's not really a singer and drowning it in auto tune, and it becomes very kind of artificial, almost sounds like AI. That's when you know it's shitty. When you think this person could have been AI, that's when you know it's a problem.
Yeah, it's and there's a channel I just put in the private chat, Wings of Pegasus. If you're a music
Yeah,
nerd,
I'm familiar with that guy. I don't
yeah,
I don't have any issues with anybody, but yeah, that's that British guy. It's funny
yeah,
because I think initially he wanted to be a musician or something, but then one day he did a video that he explained how some people were like using autotune, and then like that's what made him big. Like all day he talks about
yeah.
people using autotune. I don't mind that, but there's only so much I can listen to. But yeah, I mean he's
Well,
good
some
at
of
it.
it's
He's definitely
interesting.
like,
Yeah, some of it's interesting. Like they're auto tuning Freddie Mercury and some of these
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
right,
It's
yeah,
like
some of them are interesting.
it's like why would you don't touch that, and like you guys are saying, like you hear it, it's just that unnatural, it's like that uncanny valley effect, and it just throws you so off. You want that organic natural voice. And yeah, it's like one thing if you're like, yeah, I can see if it's like a live concert and the guy totally hits a wrong note, yeah, we're gonna go in and just fix a couple of notes here and there, like you were saying, Price. But when you make the whole song auto-tune, like that Cher song that was all auto-tune, but it was kind of like that was the vibe of the
Yeah,
was it Can We Turn Back Time, or what song is the one
yeah,
that's
it's
all
basically
Yeah, the
AI.
Do
Cher
you
song.
believe?
Yeah,
Do you
Turn Back
believe?
Time.
You Believe? Yeah,
The,
yeah,
the thing with Do You Believe was just something very strange because I mean, I don't think that I think she's capable of singing. I think that there was a song that she was supposed to sing sometime in the 90s, and at the time they had invented that auto tune plugin. It was like brand new, and the
yeah,
engineer at the studio had it. Now they wanted to maybe they wanted to correct a note of hers or something like that, and they put it on or they misused it or something happened and it made a funny noise, and she heard it and she said like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then they all got excited and said, "We'll leave it in here. It's so kind of cool. It's interesting. It's kind of a robot." And then the label said, like, "You got to remove this. This sounds like really weird. Just get rid of this." And she apparently said, like, "No, like, I insist that this like robot thing will be
Yeah.
on my track. It has to be the robot." And they're like, "Fine, fuck it. Like,
your
nobody's gonna
share,
listen
yeah.
to this." She was already like 100. They're like, "Nobody's gonna listen to this fucking track. Just leave the robot on. Nobody gives a shit." And then it became like the hit of the year. They would not stop playing that stupid robot
Yeah,
song. But in a way, it ushered in an era of shit. I don't think that she necessarily intentionally wanted to usher in the era of shit. But I think that since then we've gotten a lot of shit because it sort of put that plugin on the map. Although
yeah.
if it wasn't her, it would have been somebody else. You know what I mean? Like I don't know that it wouldn't have happened eventually anyways, but somehow she's like the poster child for how that whole thing
Yeah.
went south.
And honestly, I mean, although I don't like autotune, I really don't like autotune, but when it's used like for a stylistic effect, like it is in that song, when it's like a musical choice that they've made, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like, okay, I get it. All right, that's what they were going for. They wanted that kind of effect on it. It's the rest of the time when it's just like you're taking a bunch of these mediocre singers, these people who barely if you asked them to perform it live, they could barely manage to produce a noise. But then they go into a studio and they slap all of these different audio effects on all these audio plugins on top of stuff. And it's like, oh, listen to that. They're the greatest performers ever. And it's like,
Yeah, when they use it to
God.
fix stuff that's bad, that's when it sucks. But it's really T-Pain that's responsible because he
Yes.
charged millions. He was the engineer. He wouldn't tell anybody else how he did it. He always said it was vocoder. And then he would charge millions to produce somebody's song to get that robot sound. Maybe actually it's better, because if he did tell everybody else, we would have heard a lot more of it. But T-Pain is the one responsible.
At the time that T-Pain did it, it was like I knew exactly how to do it. I didn't believe one word he said, and I could have just done it. If he convinced people to pay him money, then they're stupid. But what I wanted to tell you, and this is an interesting story, is that this is when I learned that that we're in trouble. About myself, I was working on, there were times in my life that I did some recordings, even in a recording studio and things like that. And I did some song I was recording with a few friends in like a studio setting with, maybe it was a demo or something. And there was like a guy who was sort of a producer that actually had some experience in the industry. And we recorded a track, and I think we listened to something, and maybe I just did a take and I sang something and we were listening to it, and I thought that there was something that I didn't like, maybe I didn't hit the note so well or something like that. And I said something like, well, I'll go back inside, let's punch it in, I'll fix it, and let me just sing that, punch in that sentence again or whatever it is. And he said, it's fine, don't worry about it, I already fixed it. And I'm like, what do you mean you already fixed it? He's like, yeah, listen to it. And I'm like, and I was like really annoyed. I'm like, you did auto tune? That's like terrible. Like, please don't do that. Like, let me go in and sing it again. He's like, dude, everybody puts on auto tune. Like every single thing that's on the radio, somebody has combed through that and fixed, let's say in some cases, not everything, but has fixed notes. There's like a standard. There's an industry standard today. Like your grandstanding is not going to help you. Like nobody gives a shit. And he meant it. He meant that. He was not kidding.
Wow.
He was not kidding. And I just said, fine. And I just shut up and he fixed the note. But I understood at that moment that it's not, and he also explained to me that now it can't be like in the past, in the 90s or in the 80s or whatever, you could have a singer that maybe didn't hit all the notes 100%. People kind of expected, they wanted the character of the performance. It wasn't like sounding like an AI. It was like you wanted that imperfection. You wanted the character from people. And it's something that if you fix so many notes, you kind of lose that. But once we hit something like 2005, something around then, it was over. Like from around 2005, every single piece of music you hear, especially like mainstream releases and things like that, special engineers sat there to make sure that there isn't any major deviation from the tuning. Even if they had to sit there and correct every note, scan through every note in the song. And later on it became that you had automated things and AI and things like that. But back in the day, when it was in early stages, you'd have a person that just sits there and combs through all the notes and makes sure. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it takes away the character. It's just like everybody getting the same nose job. It ruins the character of their face and the uniqueness. And when you do that to the voice, you're taking away all of the character of the sound.
And for whatever it's worth, I've told this story before, but I'll just say quickly that I once had an encounter, quote unquote, with Taylor Swift, although I didn't talk to her. But I had a reservation at some sushi restaurant, and it wasn't even something like big time. It was maybe in a trendy area, but I don't think it was an especially trendy place. And when I came there, I had a reservation. I was supposed to meet someone there. And I had a reservation, and when I arrived, there was some big, these big brawly security people, and I'm opening the door just to some stupid sushi place that I chose, and had a reservation, and these guys are like, you can't enter this place. And I'm like, why not? And I didn't fully understand what they wanted. They're like, no, you can't come in here. I'm like, listen, I have a reservation, and I think somehow I was able to signal wherever the owner was, who admitted that I had a reservation. They had to let me in. Once I walked in, I understood that basically Taylor Swift had decided to go to this place. It was a fine place, but it wasn't the hottest thing in town. And she decided to go to the same sushi place. So I saw her sitting at a table, with two other people. And I guess there was this feeling that they were trying to make sure that people just don't show up. But it's I have a reservation. I don't give a shit. She's Taylor Swift. Fuck her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I probably said that too. Like,
Yeah.
and
But did she
I just,
did she close down the restaurant or like buy? It's one thing you buy up the whole
she
restaurant. But you
didn't.
can't
She
do it.
didn't close down the restaurant. I think that if people had reservations, I assume they let her in. But I think that there was like there were two sections to this restaurant which wasn't big. I feel like she and two people were sitting in one area, and I don't know that there were a lot of people around them. Maybe they were trying to like push people away. I don't even know. It's like, or at minimum, if you didn't have a reservation, you were out of there. The only way you
Yeah, you
could get
couldn't
in at
get
that
in.
point
Yeah.
is say that you had a reservation, which I really did have one. But the funny thing is, it's not even like it was the best place in town. I don't know why she showed up there. Maybe the neighborhood was trendy, but not the place itself. And yeah,
Yeah.
I just saw her sitting there with two people. And although, I didn't say anything to her, that whole experience to me until today, I think of, when I think of Taylor Swift, I associate it with the strange sushi incident. And it's never a good vibe. I saw her sitting there with these two jerk offs. I don't know. I don't have a good impression of her. You know what I'm saying?
Don't keep price away from his
Yep.
sushi, right? I mean, that's like one time I remember I used to get my comic books in the mall, and Ivanka Trump was there, and she set up in front of the comic books. I'm going to the guy there. I'm like, I got to go buy all my comic books, and can you get her out of the way so I can get my comic books? They're like, you're not the only person that's complained about that today. I'm like, why is she in front of the damn comic book signing her books? I don't give a crap about Ivanka Trump. I want my freaking comics. So, like, sorry, you got to come back tomorrow to get your comic books. Like, damn it.
That's annoying. Yeah, listen, I don't want to be mean. Maybe sometimes like quote unquote celebrities or people too, but I don't know that whole thing with that restaurant and that sushi thing. It's like maybe if she's like quote unquote such a big deal, don't come to this little sushi
Yeah.
place. You know what I mean? Maybe order Uber Eats or something. Like leave me alone. Why do I have to put up with this shit? Because you want to sit with your two friends and eat like I don't know what sashimi and shit.
Did you hear the Russell Crowe story? Speaking of celebrities or people too, most of them are actually entitled assholes who want special treatment, not people. Did you hear what the Hollywood Reporter did to Russell Crowe?
Yeah, we talked about that the other
I
day.
did,
actually,
yeah.
Okay, I must have missed that or already
No,
forgot.
yeah, he
Was that
basically was like
TMZ?
gets surrounded by people and is like, you know what? Okay, all right, let's everyone we'll work it out. Just nobody be a dick. Okay, everyone just calm down, and everyone will get their, we'll get some selfies and some signatures. And then, it was TMZ tried to make it out like he was being a massive asshole.
Yeah, and the thing is, he was cool. He no security, no entourage.
Yeah,
it's just him. And he's mobbed, and he's like, cool. Everybody got everything they asked for. It was such a class act. I haven't believed TMZ since the whole Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing, because they've always been on her side despite massive evidence to the contrary. But man, they really suck now.
Didn't they delete that post you were saying?
They did. Yeah, TMZ went back eventually and deleted that post.
They deleted it.
Well, Russell Crowe doesn't need security because he's Maximus, right? He can kick anyone's ass.
And then there was somebody somebody asked him, like, would you sign it as Maximus? He's like, no.
No.
It was an annoying question. Why would he sign it as Maximus?
Question.
I'm not Maximus.
Right, he's not him. Why would he do that?
Yeah, Jason Webster says Taylor was certainly swift in leaving Blake Lively behind. It's kind of funny.
That's true.
Yep. Yeah, she didn't want to deal with that crap either. But when these entitled people come in and they trample over the rights of dozens, if not hundreds, of regular people, like fuck them. They don't know what it's like to work for a living.
Well, I remember one night in New Haven, we were in a restaurant, and my wife is, look at those blue eyes back there. Is that Paul Newman? I'm like, yeah, it's Paul Newman. Wow. And Joanne Woodward. And, didn't say anything to him or didn't, bug him, but I walked by going to, the bathroom. Like, oh, shit, that's Paul. You'd love to, but you're not, love to say hi, but we're not going to bother Paul Newman. And especially don't bother him when he's going to the bathroom and ask for his autograph. But there's one thing to be entitled versus like just trying to hide in the background and not having
that's
people
not
bother you. And if Taylor Swift was she uber popular at the time, Price, or was she?
She was pretty popular. Yeah,
Pretty
I mean,
popular. Not
we're
like
talking
now,
this.
maybe,
This
but-
was at least like 10 years ago or something like
Yeah.
that. Maybe 8 years ago, 9, 10 years, something like that. She was certainly popular at the time. but I mean, she's popular today too. She was popular then,
Yeah.
but for me, she was just a nuisance, and I don't know.
How was the sushi that night?
It was pretty decent, I guess.
Pretty decent, yeah.
It tasted like Swifties, Swiffers.
I was annoyed. I was annoyed by that whole experience. So from then on, I kind of have a bad impression of her. It's not nice. The truth is, I didn't really like her before. It's like
It didn't help matters.
It doesn't help. Like, I thought her music was shitty before, and I didn't like her. But then after the sushi incident, that kind of sealed the deal for me because I just couldn't take her seriously anymore.
Well, you're not a 13-year-old girl, so of course you didn't like her. I mean, all of her fans are young girls.
The thing is that if you think about it, think what songs people are like. She has 70 Grammys and she's the most prolific songwriter ever. What prolific? What has she written? What songs does she have?
She didn't write those. That's all Max Martini.
Yeah, some of her country, like in her first couple albums. I'm not a huge country fan, but before she went pop, it was okay. It was okay. I thought, not that I'm a huge fan of that genre, but then when she went, the total pop route, but she's such an interesting study. It's like, how do you become such a viral craze? I mean, where people were flying to other countries. I knew some people that took their families to go see Taylor Swift in other countries because it actually ended up being cheaper than going to the United States, which is obscene. But and the amount of money that people are spending to go, a night with Taylor Swift. I mean, like thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, you could have, at least stayed over at Galaxy's Edge for one night, I guess, on that spaceship before it closed.
No, that's worse.
But tell me one song. Tell me one song. What's her like? I'm trying to think. What's her big hit? Like "Shake It Off." "Shake It Off" is a piece of shit song, and it's also like it's a song of its moment. You know what I mean? It's like it comes out, it goes, it sounds like some bubblegum shit. It's not. There's no character. There's no personality around it. It's a song for little girls. I always say this. I've said this many times. I don't like that they've taken music for little girls and made it like the mainstream for adults. You know what I mean? And I'll say that also even for like, maybe other things for children. I don't know if they want to listen to some. I think it's mainly girls that listen to these kind of girl singers or boy bands or whatever.
Yeah.
Growing up for me, that kind of stuff was considered like, everybody would have a good chuckle about it. Like you'd be talking about real music and that would be considered just like kind of like a joke. Only they made the joke the main course, and the stuff that's also actually quality they've pushed aside really strategically. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the more they saw like certain genres that had like, non-diverse men that are not rainbow people, I feel like those were the genres that they really wanted to get rid of, which is why they made such an effort to like torpedo rock and roll. They had to get rid of that at some point from their perspective, and they did.
Yeah. And remember, wasn't she accused of like botting or something too, or is that just Billie Eilish? But one of them got totally famous due to absolute fraud. So I don't remember if that. I know Billie Eilish did. Like she got big on Spotify, and then it came out that she was actually botting all of her songs. Allegedly. Just to be sure there, but I would not be surprised if Swift didn't do the same thing. Plus they pay for good publicity and to get charted and placed right. Some of this definitely feels artificial.
Anything is possible. I don't really know. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these singers, like, it's all phony baloney thing.
Yeah, I just didn't even realize there were that many teenage girls in the country,
Yeah, it's just amazing her rise, and maybe she'll have a crash, but it's just I don't get her music. It's obviously it's not for me, but she doesn't have that. It's you look at some of the older acts, and even my wife was saying, yeah, her voice isn't that great. I mean, she's got an average voice, I guess.
No, it's all auto-tuned. You can hear her
now, though. Yeah,
you can hear her singing on YouTube like acoustic, and she is below mediocre. It's awful. See, now I'm in the mood to go see Michael again. I'll tell you what, the music segments in that movie were fun as hell.
This is something that wait, what movie was fun?
Michael, the music
that was a fun
segments
movie.
of that movie. Like now I want to see it again.
Yeah, that was a fun movie. People here, I mean, I don't really care about Reddit. I think they're a bunch of weirdos, but they were claiming, this is 2 years ago, that every time they put a playlist on, suddenly like the second song is like a Billie Eilish song, and it seems like the only way that could happen is if somebody paid Spotify for that to happen. So I don't know if there's more. It's like bots, like you're saying, but something about it doesn't feel organic. Let's put it that way. And even though it's Reddit, I tend to agree because I know what they mean. Sometimes Spotify want to push a certain artist, and they will push it. Like you ask to listen to Stone Temple Pilots, suddenly there's Billie Eilish. You ask to listen to like Guns N' Roses, suddenly she'll be there. Like they do weird shit like that. So I certainly believe that that's how they inflate some of the numbers. I feel like a lot of times they're in cahoots with the labels themselves and things like that. I wouldn't put anything beside any of these people. But yeah. Professor, I see that you put these names of people.
Yeah, whenever you're ready for them.
Okay, cool. I'll give it another like 2 minutes. Istaphobos, Mark, was there anything else you wanted to kind of touch upon before we head out?
Well, I got to watch Spider-Man Noir, but now I'm not so excited to watch it. But
I think there's stuff to enjoy,
Some
Mark.
good parts,
It's
some good
not
parts, yeah.
it's not a, like I said, it's not a home run, but I think there's some stuff to enjoy there.
there's some
But yeah.
redeeming
Yeah,
stuff there.
I mean, I was bored silly, but I think especially younger people, there is some, you can decide for yourself. But I would definitely say, if it's not doing it for you, don't force yourself to finish it because
Yeah,
it's
say if
not
you
worth
get
it.
through, say, episode, there's 3, I think. There's kind of a big event in episode 3. You get through that and you're kind of like, meh,
Yeah.
then you don't have to keep going.
Yeah,
Well, there's also-
you're not missing anything big.
Wait a
There's
second. This
also-
is very important. Darren M, on the Rumble side, we have to raid somebody. We have to raid somebody that we've never raided before. We have to do that right now.
Find some chill lo-fi.
Something like
Streamer
low key that's
or
not bothering
gamer.
anybody. Just some
Yeah.
like run of the mill thing. If you could find something like that.
Okay, I'm looking. Let's see.
Let's see. Home.
And we do have one more super
Yeah.
chat
there
on
you go.
YouTube as well. I can pull that up while you're looking.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you pull that up, and I'm gonna find something
Find
that's
a
low
raid.
key and not
The other
bothering
thing
anybody.
I have a way to get something like Spider-Man Noir, and then a lot of times I watch things at 1.25 or 1.5.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's
Why
less,
not?
less boring.
That'll help. Actually, it will.
I got to catch myself too because I do the weekly Toxic Tuesday slideshow. So sometimes if I'm running out of time, I'm like, last week I ran out of time, so I was watching the movie at 4x speed. I'm like, wow, that was a fast movie. It was doing the slideshow, but
Preferably if there's like, let me see for a second.
How about factory views? They show like factories in China, people on the assembly line.
Wait a second.
wow.
Is Smash JT live? Or is this like...
hour?
No, I don't think it's live.
Yeah, he wouldn't be. He's got a family. He wouldn't.
Right.
be
I
able
don't.
to
I
start.
suddenly saw him and it said live, but I clicked on it and it wasn't live at all. So I don't know what that was. I'm trying to see what to do. Who's Spartacus live?
I have no idea.
Spartacus live.
yeah, I'm on the live link, but it's not showing me that many. Oh, here we go. Here's live. Yeah.
Blake Ferratu. I'll say when I ask YouTube, who's on now, give me a list of live videos. There has to be tens of thousands at any given time. And it'll show me like 5, and then it'll say that's it.
Darren, this is a good one. Whatever you just chose.
Moist Critical Gaming is live right now. Charlie.
No, whatever you did is fine, Darren. If you think it's
okay.
good, do it. Did you
We
do
trust
it?
Darren.
We can't
he's
do
good-
a Cine
good mod,
Veer
yeah.
because we just did that recently. It has to be somebody that we've never rated before. So, Darren, did you put that in?
The links, the backslash is in the wrong place, so it didn't set
Yeah,
up
I
the
think
raid.
you need a backslash and then the thing. But I am 100% for it. I
Yeah.
think we need to raid.
Slash and then space, Darren. You got the slash next to the link. But we've got our super chat here from Jason Webster for an Australian fiver. Says Blake Lively's full name literally means cheerfully dark. I'm not kidding. Blake also means pale. Well, she is Blake Ferratu. Yes, that's great. I love it. Yeah.
Darren, is this thing working, this raid? Is this happening?
I haven't gotten a notice yet.
I don't know how these things work.
Hold
I
on,
just know that
hold
we
You
have
put
to
it
raid
in-
somebody.
How do you do it in Rumble? You put it in the
But it has to be
Rumble-
something we've never raided before.
You put it in the Rumble studio, I guess, right? As a raid.
I mean, you have to do something. No, you have to write something like /raid or something.
Oh, okay, and then you put it in, and it takes people there once the stream ends. Yep.
I'm trying to see what link he sent, but when I click on it, nothing happens. I don't know what to do.
Oh, he got it. It took. I got it now. He's good.
He's good?
Yeah. I see the notification come up. We are raiding.
And
third
have we ever
Valify.
raided them before?
No, we have not.
For sure?
Yep.
Third Railify. Don't know who
Yep.
that is, but
I don't know who it is. I hope it's not
Remember
weirdos.
that.
we'll have to find out.
You'll find out now.
Okay. Well, we did the best we could here. They seem like nice people. So yeah, we did the raid, and now let's quickly
did the super chats. Yeah, if you've got the
list of people
should
that
have
you
the
sent.
numbers there.
Yeah, they actually do seem like nice people. I'm watching it now.
Yep.
They do.
Great. That's a bonus.
Cool. Yep. Price of Reason has rated this stream.
Great. I'm
That's a
trying to
great
find your
feature.
thing, Professor. I
Oh.
can't find your thingy.
No, hold
Dude,
on.
you gave them about 60% more.
Oh, wait, I found
viewers.
it. I found it.
Okay.
It says Rumble, Joe Higachi, God bless 5697, Elizabeth Quince, Double R Star, Mark D with the C, is the Phobos radio streamer, Dude Bro Seth 420, Cheers, Folsom Lockdown, Darren Mai, Gaming Stuff, Deeple 101, Deconstruct, Coin Op, Sal the Hamster, Loyish, and Pyromancer. Great to see you all here.
Yeah, and over on YouTube, we had Rebecca Gold, the lovely Sherry Inku, Eklay Thomason, Fishbulb, Samsung, Adrian Veit, Kelly Hahn, Dutch Gradient, Harvey Lee, Greg Williams, Tony Ilias, Yitus, Jack S, G2S, Tim Hayes, Mark S47, Mass Grave, and Ron Donofero, Shane Fairbank, Jonathan Conroy, Marla Sharondoff, Darth Scipio, Badfoot, John 1Z1, Echo 32, Echo 7, Kuna Ritchie, Sagacious 6, Lucy Mao, Andrew Seaton, Captain Palsy, iLord Corey, Trev Toon Art, Gavin Unit, Lasher, Caleb Levine, Darren M, Mark D with a C, Istophobos, Tomahawk 511, Big Sur River, and then we received some support this evening, some super chats from the Real Head Case and from Jason Webster. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for being here, Professor and Mark D with a C and
Thank you.
Phobos. You guys check out the channels these guys have. Mark D with a C. Let me see if I can find this quickly before we head out.
Thank you. Yep.
Mark D with a C. So we got the YouTube here. I'm going to share that with the YouTube audience. And then in addition to that, there's the Rumble.
Yeah, I'm
So
trying to
I'm
get to 100 on Rumble. I'm at 84, so I need to get to 100.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So we got the Rumble one, and we are copying and pasting that into Rumble. So you should check out what they're doing. And Istophobos is on Twitter. Let's see. We have Istophobos on Twitter. And that I can do on both platforms. And of course, we have Professor R2. And I'll just copy paste that and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, you doubled their live viewership with that raid, dude. And they're still
nice
going.
raid,
So
yeah.
that was very cool.
Great. Yeah, happy to do that. So you guys all have a great night. And I guess we'll see you here. What day is it today? Today is Thursday.
Today's Thursday, yeah.
We'll
It's
see you here
Friday
on
now.
Tuesday on the Night Owl.
All right, take care, everybody.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody. Cheers.
Good night. Bye.